IRFM wishes to advise that the views expressed on the Cutting Edge are not necessarily those of the company.
Black line fire.
And anything she wants, and she will make she acquire. Now I'll give you half, you get the whole empire. Blaze up the fire, make the place burn fire. Big Congo jump till Babylon retire. Nothing never see fire. And this a no comedy and no Richard Pryor. But chanting in a turban very properly attire. We hear the prophet, hear the priest, hear up the Messiah. To keep the Sabbath holy, that is what the Lord require. To overthrow the Lord of hosts is Babylon desire. Now tell me man how well it was, that's a love the higher. Just if I'm living in the heart of flesh, it of the man. It says, older than me too, still to be the Jeremiah. For all the meditation, yo, I got to have a fire.
Good evening, welcome to the Cutting Edge. My name is Jahlani Niah, sitting in for Mutabaruka, with you here for another few hours, spending some time and sharing some information and other kinds of tidbits that might be of use. The real Bongo Niah with you for a few hours, giving thanks to IRFM for this opportunity to bring ideas to the nation once more, you know. We want to give thanks to the Most High for safe passage. We tried the new toll road, which we're told still has 2 days of no toll. Nice little experience, you know. First time on it, about 11 minutes to a point, then you have another 20 minutes or 15 minutes out of rest. So the journey seems much more doable now without that winding Mount Rasa. Yeah, man, we give thanks for this day, 3rd of September, another Cutting Edge. Mutabaruka is traveling, so we're here once more with you. We want to start out mindful of the fact that we're at the end of the year and the beginning of another one. End of the year, if we think of ourselves as Ethiopians, they are now at the verge of their last month, going into their 13th month, which is a month of 6 days, starting somewhere around the 6th of September. And those 6 days are strictly public holiday until they get into the 11th of September, which is their New Year's Day. When they have a leap year, it's the 12th of September. For us, it's the middle or 3/4 into whole year, but for those of us who are involved with school, then the school give us that sense of Ethiopia, a new beginning. We want to hail up all of the ones going out to school for the first time, and those listening to the night school here, Cutting Edge, Mutabaruka's college after dark on a Wednesday night, you know. Muta, the great teacher, has taught us well. We give thanks for him and wish him all the best. This is a chance for many ones, you know. We hope that those going into schools make good this time. much expense related to that privilege, as we are told it is, to have higher education or education in total. Those at the basic level just starting out, you have some time to go. Journey might seem far, but as you quint it has passed, so don't waste the resources that the parents find so hard to bring together in these really hard times. To all of those in the back to school effort, those manufacturers, traders, parents, etc. All the best to them. Ones like Farai, ancient shoemaker, putting souls on the feet of children and many generations. We want to hail him and the tavern crew. We want to hail the Rastafari family in general, those out in Bull Bay, Bobo Hill, my brother Clive in Troja, Nabingi family across the land. We want to hail Sister Blossom. Would I love to reach her if she is able to, or anyone who knows how to get to her. Sister Blossom, Nabingi daughter, who shared a wonderful poetic insight some years ago at the Carl Gardens incident. We're hailing her particularly and asking ones who know to reach her to have her call the studio or get in touch with her as to how we can get a hold of her permanently. Rasi Truth, yeah man, we want to hail you up, and all the ones who are the regular part of the family, House of Israel. We want to particularly remember the family of Brother Becky. Brother Becky passed away recently. A real void, not just to that 12 Tribes of Israel community, but generally the Rastafari community in recent years, particularly. Brother Becky was an active and eloquent member, being involved in the wider community through the Millenium Council and other kind of participation. We want to remember the family at this time, especially given the suddenness of his passing. We want to hail also our Ethiopian Orthodox family, those who still hold on to the ancient Ethiopian church, the church people them. We want to also hail those members of the Ethiopian World Federation, Brother Brissett in particular, who has been carrying that banner, a man who trod into Ethiopia himself, lived there, and perhaps one of the most active and visible members in our local community. More hail Solomon Wolf as well, ancient one in Ethiopia in his 90s, still going strong on the battlefield. We want to hail the ones at the Mannings Hill Academy on the bank, so to speak, the Dapper crew. Them know themselves, as we would say. The Bongo crew, Mafia crew, Smalley crew, all the various crews, especially the Chalice Man them, We kind of trying to Lego the spliff thing these days. It's highly unhealthy. Not the best way of smoking or consuming the benefits of the herb, the spliff, the chalice. A little rough sometimes, but a better filtered smoke in total. So we want to hail those who hold that tradition still. Man them in Yallas, Johnson Mountain, Sunning Hill, Allbout, Kensington, Portland Cottage, Raswita in Backbush with the Backbush warriors like General Odell. We want to hail them too. Yeah man, Father Uri, we got a wonderful treat on this weekend in Old Harbour, seeing the vintage, I think he's somewhere in the 70s now, but we're really glad to see that him still out there in the forefront of things, showing us how it has been done for over 40 years and that he's still putting it on, so to speak. We want to hear Speedy and Carol, who facilitated that show with Uri most recently. Yeah, so we are here again, another Wednesday evening to take you through the next few hours. I'm joined by a brethren who you'll hear from as we go on, Zanj, talented and, multi-talented youth who, will say something. I want to give ISIS to all of those people who have September Earth Days. Within the tribes, we talk about Zebulon. September is that month. I think them color is pink. And being a Joseph, I have a particular relationship with those Zebulons. So I want to hear my sister who has her Earth Day tomorrow, Colleen, and my sister Noel, who shares my sister's Earth Day, wishing them the best. And I want to hear my sister, my special sister, my Empress, Sonia, who has her Earth Day on the 8th coming up. This program is largely looking at a way of tributing another September born. This is Mortimo Planno, whose birthday would be on the 6th of September, which is Saturday. Throughout the program, we'll be talking and making references, sharing some of his ideas with you. It was a little difficult to find the clearest bits for, airplay. The recordings were not the best, but we think we have things that, can give you a taste of what kind of genius and wit was a part of Planno's range, so to speak. Alright, so this once more is the cutting edge. Jahlani Niah sitting in for Mutabaruka. We're going to have a little bit of music and then go to a break. So we give thanks.
Reggae music, word of fire. Reggae radio, Irie FM. Reggae music taken from the sinking sand of the ghetto and place I on a solid ground. Don't break it down, be a builder, not a destroyer. Reggae music, word of fight. Yes, it word fight for. Reggae music, word of fight. Good message I bring across. Reggae music, word of fight. Yes, it really worth it. Reggae music, word of fight. Alright, never know I would have lived to see this. Pornographic mixing with the music. On top of it, them all a video with. I now see I'm not far complete dumb to this. Long time I tell them to change the topic, but the devil in flesh, them know I hear it. But Mali don't set the standard for it, so I'm not going to let them change it. No sir, reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it worth fight for. Reggae music worth the fight. Good message that you bring across. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it really worth it. Reggae music worth the fight. Hey, take them back to the basic to bring across the message we're using music. Hey, why not embrace it? I figure it out, now it's time to face this. Dirty mind, we erase it. Use the positive thoughts and replace it. Hey, raise your thoughts a little higher and use some words to inspire. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it worth fight for. Reggae music worth the fight. Good message that you bring across. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it really worth it. Reggae music worth the fight. I tell them stop using music, make commercial for the devil. Who can't hear or go in a big trouble. Words can't die, crumble them with every syllable. When you pour him rat it, I got terrible. Well, them say reggae is a life support. The reason why the reggae music and life support put to leave behind the bad one them promote. Well, if them a poison, I am antidote. Yeah, reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it worth fight for. Reggae music worth the fight. Good message that you bring across. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it really worth it. Reggae music worth the fight. Alright, never know I would have lived to see this. Pornographic mixing with the music. On top of it, them all a video it. I now see I'm not a complete dumb to this. Long time I tell them to change the topic, but the devil in flesh, them know I hear it. But Mali don't set the standard for it, so I'm not going to let them change it. No sir, reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it worth fight for. Reggae music worth the fight. Good message that you bring across. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, Yes, it really worth it. Reggae music worth the fight. Hey, take them back to the basic. To bring across the message we use in music. Hey, why not embrace it? I figure it out, now it's time to face this. Dirty mind, we erase it. Use a positive thoughts and replace it. Hey, raise your thoughts a little higher and use some words to inspire. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it worth fight for. Reggae music worth the fight. Good message that you bring across. Reggae music worth the fight. Yes, it really worth it.
I know that we must come up. I know when I stop kill the devil. Selassie, I know that man. You them style that. Hey, 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 hey. Watch me. Oh, Jaja. Oh, Jaja. Oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Oh, Jaja. Oh, Jaja. Oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Ready, me, ready, me, ready, me, ready, me, ready, me, ready, me, ready. Steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady. Go, they not easy, Sister Carol, what a nice melody. A Kingston, me born Kingston, me did the live. Said longer than I'm from them used to call it village. I guess some me get to increase me knowledge. And they teach me some things where them not teach at college. Me learn how to make all kind of porridge. How to wash, how to clean and prepare for marriage. You know, say King Selassie take me over the bridge. Say this your rose daughter man, she will privilege. Me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready. Steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady. Good, they good, they good, they good, they good, they naughty jelly. Easy mother culture, what a nice melody. Oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Me international, yet still me local. I'm a DJ, but I would sing a vocal. Some people imitate, but I and I original. I mean no start nothing slack, man, we keep it cultural. I mean no show off, man, me move vertical. Well down to work, simple and natural. Man, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready. Ready me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady. What they go, they go, they go, they go, they naughty jelly. Easy mother culture, what a nice melody. Tonight you're going to hear what you never hear before. No kangaroo quota can a second for me score. Me body ready, no one, the lyrics them a pour. But Jaja give me them like the sands pan ashore. Hide me, I go use and beat Babylon door. Beat them up an hour with that 2x4. You know the road starts and them can't taste for sure. Man, they full of lyrics and me got it galore. So ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready, me ready. Steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady me, steady. Oh, they go, they go, they go, they go, they naughty jelly. Easy, Sister Carol, what a nice melody. Oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja, oh, Jaja. Are you a guide and protect me? Sit down, Carol, because you're smoother than teacher. Right, you read from dancehall and now you come back with teacher. Them a cry for your bad and them a beg and with speech. And the slackness still get away out to reach. Them a cry for your bad like a dog on a leash. Say come back, Sister Carol, beg you come back with teach.
Really rocking, you know.
Reggae.
Morning, noon and night. Irish is just right.
Yeah, you're listening to The Cutting Edge with Jahlani Niah sitting in for Mutabaruka. I want to read something from His Majesty on the issue of peace. The preservation of peace and the guarantee of man's basic freedoms and rights require courage and eternal vigilance. Courage to speak and act, and if necessary, to suffer and die for truth and justice. Eternal vigilance that the least transgression of international morality shall not go undetected and unremedied. He also tells us elsewhere, peace is a day-to-day problem. the product of a multitude of events and judgments. Peace is not an is. It is a becoming. Yeah, words of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. He also tells us it's much easier to show compassion to animals. They are never wicked. So in a sense, the human animal has to strive to overcome wickedness in engendering that genuine peace. Yeah, we give thanks. We're looking at a new beginning. The Ethiopian New Year is upon us. And within the Jamaican context, the community that is most significant to is the Rastafari community, which generally celebrates that 11th of September anniversary with a Nyabingi celebration, or should I say Nyabingi celebrations across the community, across the land. There's no differences here, and we're going to be joined on the phone line by the interim chair of the RMC, Rastafari Millenium Council, Sister Mitzie Williams, to tell us about the celebrations slated for September 11. Sister Mitzie?
Yes, greetings, Jahlani.
Greetings, ITG, Empress Sister Mitzie. It's good to have you on the phone line. Welcome to Cutting Edge.
Yes, greetings, and I just want to say, give a warm greeting to the RAFM family, to the Rastafari family internationally, to my African family, and say greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, our Almighty Father, Emperor Haile Selassie I, and greetings in the name of our Divine Mother, Empress Memoer. And say greetings again, and to say that speaking in relation to the Nyabingi, I would rather speak. I'm speaking tonight in my capacity as a part of that family.
Okay, all right. So you're talking about Nyabingi celebration specifically?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you can tell us a little. I know generally there is a celebration for 11th of September, and ones might not know what is slated for this year and where the event should take place or will take place. So you can tell us a little about what decisions were arrived at as to where this will happen.
Well, a decision was made, I think, most of us came to a consensus at a meeting held at Scott Park Nyabingi Center last Sunday, August 24th, that we would gather at the Scott Park Nyabingi Center, which many of us have not done for over a year now, to bring our family forward, and to start the new year, September 11th, on a new path to bringing the family together again, bringing the youths out, although it's back to school, and we are normally affected by that it's back to school, and the mothers and fathers are more occupied. Sometimes the gathering for the new year is a little bit smaller than even the previous one celebrating His Majesty's birthday, but we're inviting ones to come out because we see this as a moment for reassembling and for healing and for bridging all the gaps that have kind of plagued us for a little while now, removing some of the cobwebs that have caused us, some lack of clarity in terms of our relationships, and to just get things on a level again, things indicative of what a new year represents, rebuilding, renewing, all of our acquaintances and putting things in place, reviewing.
It sounds like an Isle of Full gathering.
Well, I certainly would like to see that because ones have been asking for it, Jahlani, and ones like even Marshanti came to the ISIS and said that she got this message to come and tell us that we really need to come forward.
Yeah.
And we need to come forward together at Scott Pass.
Well, Marshanti, we know, is a matriarch within the family and completely articulate generally, and you can't really fight her in articulating what she brings. But yeah, it sounds like an important message from this matriarch, and Scots Pass has a magic to it, you know. The convenience of Scots Pass for people from around the island also is one of the reasons why I was suggesting Islaful, you know, if everyone comes in the way that you're suggesting. How long?
Well, as I said, this came from not only from Marshanti. When I went to Pit 4 at the last ISIS, there were young brethren and sisters who came and said to me, Sister Mitzie, I think the Ethiopian New Year and the celebration of it is the perfect time for us to just stop and say, listen, you know, there have been many things that have stopped us from assembling at Scott Pass, and we just need to be able to come together as a family and move past some of these issues by resolving them, of course, and just getting the family forward. So we agreed that we are going to do the fire lighting on the night of the 10th going into the 11th, and we would chant ISIS there for 5 lights, taking us into seal up on the Tuesday morning.
Okay. And based on the administrative concerns, are there any specific things that you would want to use this opportunity to advise the community about in terms of the needs for this bingy?
Well, the needs is clean in hands and pure in heart, first of all. To understand that every mission that we assemble, you know, on is a righteous mission, an honorable one, and we must come as sons and daughters of His Majesty and Empress Menen, indicative of their life and their behavior and their standards, their principles. That's the first thing. And, you know, at this moment, before we go forward, I would really just like to give thanks for my ancients, the elders of the Rastafari community and the ancients of the Nyabingi house specifically, who continue to be present, continue to be a great source of strength to all of us, a great source of inspiration as Rastafari, and
even in trying times and under
very trying times, you know what I mean? So we have to, I lift them up and salute them tonight and ask the family to let us come together and try to make, to manifest the new year as one of the manifestation of our creed. You know, and I think that to pay a little bit more attention to the things that we utter and put action to it, and you know, I think that would be a good start for us. One of the things that we also spoke about at the reasoning on Sunday at Scott Pass was the situation concerning immunization of our youth. Raskava made sure that was on the agenda because it's a new school year.
Particularly,
Rastafari youths are still having this challenge in relation to being immunized and being forced to be immunized. And this was an issue that was raised, and Brother Miguel Lorne, attorney at law, who was there just helping us to sort out some of our legal concerns and giving some legal clarity to some of the issues that are being raised now within our family. He told us that in relation to a specific case, a young lady, Aina, she's the daughter of our Japanese national brother, Ibo, who was killed. Yes, and she has been out of school from early this year because her mother took the stance that she would not immunize her, and she, as a young lady, although without locks but brought up Rastafari, decided that she was not going to be immunized. So the teacher of the school also took a very strong position, saying that she was not going to compromise, and so the young lady has been out of school. I don't know if you remember that her mummy Kingman took a document and handed it to the Prime Minister at the conference at the university. This was in relation to all the agitation, all the advocacy that he has walked up and down Jamaica, you know, representing on her behalf, trying to get her back into school. He brought it to the attention of Honorable Portia Simpson. Yes.
Okay.
So where it's at now is that Brother Miguel says it has now gone to the Constitutional Court and that there will be a hearing sometime in October. I don't remember the exact date. But, you know, this is an issue
I thought we were beyond this and there was...
No, we're not. Definitely not close to beyond it. I mean, you would think that we would be beyond it based on the responsibility that the government has taken in relation to signing conventions that should free us of this kind of thing, that's based on your religious affiliation and your medical rights, that you should not be forced to immunize. So,
and there are other implications, you know, these vaccines, I mean, especially for people in our community with vegan lifestyles, much of them is animal byproducts that they are, you know, injecting in the body, and, you know, completely against the moral fabric that we would wish to move forward with. Well, so Brother Miguel is going to take some sort of assistance with that. His hands are full at this time, it seems, you know. I've been, and I think he's going to join us later on in the program. But I therefore, based on your response to my question, I take it that the grounds are adequate and there's no need for assistance in preparation for the bingy.
I didn't know that you had asked me about that part. Of course, you know, let me tell you something. I think there are some things that we need to restore in terms of Niah bingy assemblies, and we need to go forward to the good old-fashioned way of ones coming with something to offer, you know, as a traditional way.
That's what I was asking when I said that
I came and saw it, you know, because I think we have kind of resigned ourselves too much to depending on what is provided instead of providing for ourselves and our family. And then when we get to celebration, now we find that we have a responsibility for ancients who are there, and, you know, sometimes for the youth. But
Sister
it's really, really hard.
Out of the few hundred who gather, if each person was to bring a coconut, we would have too many.
Of course.
You know,
and that's exactly what we're asking for this time.
If each person brought one coconut, we would have too many.
Of course.
So you're really saying that one cocoa is the approach that needs to happen.
Yes. We have to go forward to that.
And real food, you know, I talk about the farmers bringing in ground food, liberating us a little from the Chinese rice and the Chinese tofu, you know, and the beans, the legumes, those kinds of things, the greens, etc. And all across our community, people are farming and cultivating. So it's about, well, people can get in touch with you as well, I suppose. And there's Rastafari, who I'm sure is a part of the coordination.
Yeah, there are many ones, especially in the Clarendon community. Rastafari, Rastafari, you know, Sister Janet in Mandeville, Mother Merle, Sister Dunan, anyone that you can connect with. I know that the farmers have been having a challenge as far as the drought is concerned.
Yes.
But I mean, we know farmers out there that's still farming and still reaping. And in calling out the family, we are asking ones to just make sure that you travel with something that would go into the pot, you know, to make sure that the celebration can happen in a very islandful way. We would like ones also to come forward, you know, with suggestions about how we can move to the next level of ourselves and our development, you know, because there are many things we can't manifest anything at all without us coming together with the minds to manifest the resources and to put the plans in place. You know, I'm calling on my Niah bingy sisters and my Rastafari family of sisters to understand that our duty is now enhanced, and the family is calling on us even more right now to play a greater role, to stand with our brothers, you know, and to make sure that the family is properly protected and our collective security, our food security. So we're asking ones now is a time at every level, administrative, protected and our collective security, our food security. So we're asking ones now is a time at every level, administrative, to monitor our youth, to be there for our children. We're called to a special kind of duty right now, and I think the new year is the perfect time. We would like to sit down and go forward into our guidelines to set something straight, to develop a stronger level of harmony and balance and respect and love for each other. And I would like us to use this new year opportunity, to make that happen. So we're calling ones to come out to the celebration, come out to sit in with love and respect, to have reasoning, for the benefit of the Rastafari family, for the benefit of the African family. I don't like to talk about repatriation just in a void, in a vacuum. I'd like for us to have really, really serious discussions about
realities
how we are
that
making
connect.
it.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Connected realities.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
How we're realizing things here to take forward with us when we're going home, because our realization here is what going to give us that confidence, that we are the creators that Africa is waiting for.
And Sister Mitzie, you mentioned the young people. I've observed a real young energy emerging within the Nyabingi family. Daughter Lily and Bongo, Jack's lineage and others, Bongo Joe, Bongo Manny, all those generations and even your own. There is now a new generation of Nyabingi youth emerging, and those really need to be properly nurtured. The ancients that we have with us still have a heavy load, but the youth are there as strong impulse, So we have to rope them in and keep them encouraged. Anything you want to say in leaving us this evening, Sister Mitzie?
Well, I just want to say just what you were saying a while ago. We had a very, very strong and vibrant set of youths that formed the Rastafari Youth Initiative Council. And I know we're having challenges in organizations all across our community, but I think that we can come together and strengthen each other. And we're calling on the Rastafari Youth Initiative Council to come together again, it's to the benefit of the family. I'm calling on all the youths, because when my youths were going to Bingi, you call all of those families a while ago, there were so many youths around us, for different reasons they have drifted. We're calling the family forward together again. We're calling the ancients from right across Jamaica, to make us come together in a family setting for Ethiopian New Year at the Scott Pass Nyabingi Center for 5 days, and to leave there fulfilled and spiritually enhanced, So that's what I can say in the name of His Majesty. Let us tread in His light and the love of Empress Menen and manifest the works. And I give thanks again to yourself and all the volunteer Ethiopians, all the ones who have been doing this work without 1 cent of monetary compensation, who have been keeping the family going. I say I salute you, and just continue the works. We're really just starting. We have a far way to go, but just stay on it.
Yeah, man. Give thanks, Sister Mitzie, and you stay strong. We know that the work is not always easy, and there are many challenges. But you've shouldered it like 3 men, strong men. So I guess you can only be but woman. Yeah, man. So give thanks for what you've been doing, and continue with your guidance and protection.
Okay, and before I go, I just want to say one thing, because I saw a phone call coming in a while ago, and I know who it's from, and I want to bless up all of my ancients who are not physically strong at this time, Bongo Daniel, Bongo Shefan, all the ancients right across Jamaica who are experiencing health challenges at this time.
Yeah,
that's a part
Mama
of
Fire.
it that we have to sit and discuss. Mama Fire, bless up yourself. Enough love we're sending out to you. And all of our ancients who are having that kind of challenge. Let the family come together to see how collectively we can strengthen ourselves,
Yeah, man, give
perfect
thanks.
Love. You hear? Rastafari.
One perfect love, my sister.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
FM really rocking. Look what Jaja gave me. New life. A brand new little baby. Look what Jaja gave me. New life. A brand new little baby. In my life, there's now so much more. Oh yes, new meaning from this bundle of joy. This precious gift you give me, I'll hold close to my heart. Now my life is so fulfilling. Look what Jaja gave me. New life, a brand new little baby. Look what Jaja gave me. New life, a brand new little baby. Such a great experience to see. Oh yes, the birth of a newborn baby. This miracle of life I know has been placed in our hands. Destiny, we're fulfilling it. Look what Jaja gave me. New life, a brand new little baby. Look what Jaja gave me. New life, a brand new little baby. Now in your life, I'll always be there. Oh yes, to love. Nature's blessings being shared. Through ups and downs and in between. Oh yes, I'll hold fast to your hands.
Up in the earth.
My life is so fulfilling.
Mark of the covenant, that's gold and green. Chill out my weed is all I really need. Yam and banana, big Jill and red peas. Excess amount of weed. No worry about it, come on, coconut, chalice, this must have a blessing, must have a blessing. Last week a message, no envy, no malice, herbalist, half a blessing. Coconut, chalice, for the winners. It's our planet, just say the weed. It's our flourish, it's a mysterious work just established. I know the wicked can't stop it, so praise His Majesty. First thing in the morning, far as my eyes can see, for the earth is a flower's garden, and just all of the mountains for dwelling places, herb is a healing of all the nations. So write a letter to the 7 churches, Revelation, Genesis, earth man off a live. No worry about it, I'm a coconut, chalice, this must have a blessing, must have a blessing. Love is a message, no envy, and a malice, herbalist, half a blessing. Coconut, chalice, cause I read it. It is the scripture, we are the sheep of the pasture, and it is planted right there at the river. On grapefruit tree of a prosper, let us live in harmony. In the state where we close to nature, Mother Nature. Modernized technology might bring disaster. So bring I should send living on the forest, we see naughty jungles. Eat fresh fruits and it's a vegetable. How do they grow, man? It's such a miracle. Leaf of life and see the Bible. Leave by the medicine. No worry about it, I'm a coconut, chalice, this must have a blessing, have a blessing. Love is a message, no envy, no and have some respect. This is a holy foundation, Rastafari said. This urban flex, it is perfect. Granny drink a cup of bush tea, and they carry a key to the market, While the paper grass early, and did your grandson serve. Grandpa complaining, never get no when you...
Yeah, Jahlani Niah sitting in for Mutabaruka on the cutting edge. One big up the Dapper man them, the Chalice man them. Nabbing the family, Rastafari and his crew. Enough respect, you know, Rusty and Empress Audrey. Hail up. I want to also hail those at the Rastafari Studies Unit at university. Trajine and Ramon and Hugh and Brother Arthur. I think I may have missed out some, but we're hailing the unit and those tuned in listening. We actually are, as a unit at the university, assisting with the Jamaican launch of a new film called The Price of Memory by Mrs. Karen Marks Mafundikwa. Did I get it right? Good night. Karen, you're there?
Yes, good night. I'm here. Thanks. Greetings to everyone listening.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that you were able to stay up to join us this evening. I know that you normally have, gone in much earlier.
I wouldn't miss it.
I hear you. You've done a very, very important work, and I have not had a chance to see it yet, but I'm looking forward to the screening at the University of the West Indies on Sunday afternoon. It is at 3 p.m.
Right.
At the N1 Lecture Theatre in the Faculty of Humanities. We have a distinguished Jamaican filmmaker with us. Karen, this is not her first film. We were able to show a film earlier this year called Shungun, The Resilience of a People, which your husband was instrumental in its production. So you've been working transcontinental, global in some respects. This new film, The Price of Memory, we have a trailer, and we're going to use the trailer to kind of give those listening a sense of what you're doing and then come back to you, Karen. Is that fine?
That's fine, thanks.
All right, so we're going to the trailer now.
In Jamaica, we live with reminders of slavery scattered across the island, and the legacy of slavery runs deep, touching the fabric of our lives.
It is a very special pleasure for me, on the occasion of my Golden Jubilee, to address the Jamaican Parliament.
Most people, when they see these beautiful buildings, they always ask, when were they built? The correct question to ask is, where did the money come from to build these buildings?
We build the British Empire with blood, sweat and tears. We should get redress to reparation now.
I do not think that it is remotely realistic to start talking of reparations at this stage. Reparations breed envy. They breed distrust. They stir up hatred.
The case for reparations for slavery rests on the premise that the effects of slavery are still being felt by Africans now living in Africa and the diaspora. There is no evidence of this.
The money went to Britain. The memories remained here.
Yes, Karen, we just got some pithy bites from that film, and I know you've...
That's the trailer.
Yeah, and you've engaged a number of fairly well-known personalities, and Rastafari in particular in this film. Just tell us a little about the motivation for making this film and the process, journey kind of thing.
Okay, it was a journey that took a decade, basically. I wasn't living in Jamaica at the time, and Queen Elizabeth was coming to Jamaica, and I thought I wanted to make a short film around the visit. And while I was at King's House, a group of Rastafari came to petition her for reparations. And for me, it was just a clash of history, visible, very tangible in front of me. And so I just started to follow. That really set me off on the journey to start to just research all the history of reparations before that day and what followed, that petition, lawsuit that followed, and other actions after that. And then, so, of course, I had to read a lot around slavery, reparations, the British monarchy, so it was a lot of research. And so the film itself is about, so it's reparations on several levels. Obviously, the vanguard, Rastafari is the vanguard in reparations, and then incidents of appealing for reparations from really within living memory of history of slavery. People wrote to Queen Victoria asking for reparations in the 1860s, and then also the Jamaican government actions going to Durban World Conference and what came of that, and how that enabled the British to say it was not a crime against humanity and dismiss the various actions from Jamaica.
So you take a fairly long historical view then.
Right, but just on multiple levels, intertwining. And then, of course, it's some of the main people who would appear in there is Raslan. You have Michael Lund with that lawsuit that happened. You have the first mission to Africa in 1961, where the Queen has petitioned the second mission to Africa, and I tracked down Douglas Max and Clayton Fillmore Varanga and all of their different, and that took years, took years. So, in between I made Chungo and did other work, but it was a labor of love that took a long time to just manifest.
How long is the film?
It's 83 minutes.
Okay, so
it's a feature.
Yes, almost an hour and a half. And, and in terms of the story that you present, how has that resolved itself? I mean, how does the story factor for us as far as the conversation? What are your insights from making the film?
Okay, so the film, the name of it is The Price of Memory. And the reason why I put that name is because I saw the huge personal sacrifice of pretty much everyone who pursued reparations. So everybody paid a price. And it was really to hold on to memory, So one thing I can say is it's a very, very complex process. I feel like it's kind of this whole government political angle is moving with CARICOM and all of that, and I just think that repatriation should still be center focus in there, and so for me that's I don't want to give away the end,
Okay, yeah.
But I'm just saying that I follow everything.
Okay.
So through it, there people evolve as main people who I follow, and so you have a little personal history in there. So it's a story. It's not just like a thesis.
It's not a documentary.
It's not a thesis. It's a it's a film. So you have to make it interesting and hold interest in the story in there. Yeah. So and I also go to England in it and explore the cities that just reveal the legacy of slavery: London, Liverpool, Bristol, and places that a lot of people don't know. When I showed this, I showed it once before at the Pan-African Film Festival, and there were 2 British girls there who actually invited it to a festival in England and in Scotland. And they said they didn't know any of this before. They never learned any of this.
Well, the story is not told on that side.
They had never heard of this.
Yeah, they don't tell the same story on that side when they're teaching.
Yeah, so of course, they wanted, and these are white people who were very adamant for me to show it there. They were young, so I suppose, it's the first they were learning about all of this.
So the film kind of breaks down some of the ignorance in a sense. What do you see next after this? There's a Jamaican launch.
Okay, yes. So there's a Jamaican, but then also it's going to be in Trinidad at the end of September. It's been invited to the Trinidad Film Festival and it's nominated there for Best Documentary.
Okay.
So that helps, to just kind of get it out there and stuff. But I want it to be seen widely in Jamaica.
And how do you propose to do that now?
Well, so I'm going to have one in Montego Bay in Heroes Week. Because it's I don't want to really give away everything, but it opens in Sam Sharp Square. I'm from Montego Bay, so that was that's one of the things that led me, no, not that, but from a very early age I became aware of I became aware of what Sam Sharp Square represented, and so every time I walked through Sam Sharp Square, I really creeped out because I knew that 500 people were hanging there, and I don't know, I guess I was a sensitive child.
Prof. Shepard would be happy to hear that. Prof. Shepard would be happy to know that history and the markers are working in that sense then.
Yeah, so, just the very visible elements of it that remain. So, yeah, so I intend to show it. I'm still working on showing it around Jamaica, but I know that's a goal from pretty much now forward.
Okay.
I'll be planning, to just show it in every parish, really, whether through the library or, just grassroots screenings I'm planning to have.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was about to say this is not going to get into Palace Cineplex, it seems. It's not going to get that level of release. I'm questioning. It's not a not. It's a question.
It's a commercial thing, and then you have to, people have to. I don't know if everybody can afford to spend the $900 or whatever to get into Palace.
I get you.
I mean, it's a consideration. But I never thought that it would be something that in Jamaica I would see to really. I just want it to be seen while in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other market places you can say that's a market you can look at. So the education.
Well, my question was more driven by whether network like that would have an interest in this kind of film. So that it was really out of that.
It's been most of the show a lot of Hollywood.
And
that's
the point, man.
So I don't see a lot of independent work there, and this is a very indie film. But I mean, it's an option I guess I really should explore.
Or television release might be better, in the sense that if you can eventually.
Exactly.
Get it
so I'm actually talking. So that's something I'm working on right now.
Yeah, man.
So that it can, because like Shungo was shown on television here and other places.
Okay. You want to tell us about the launch event before you go?
Okay, so thanks again to the Rastafari unit. It's going to be Sunday, September 7-3 at Neville Hall Lecture Theatre N1. So, and we're going to have some stalwarts there. Sam Clayton will be there. A lot of people have been active in reparations for years, for decades. So it will be interesting.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, so that's Sunday afternoon, this Sunday coming, 7th of September at N1 Lecture Theatre at the university. 3 o'clock, 3 to 5 is the time?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 3 sharp.
Okay, 3 sharp. All right. Let's see our Pan-African community responding likewise. Yeah, man. 3 sharp on Sunday afternoon. Well, Karen, well done, and thank you for, staying up a little later to share those insights with us. And we look forward to the launch itself and to more such work, because this work needs to be documented, and when young persons like yourself are inspired to contribute to that, we have to give thanks. So all the best with the launch and the film, and thank you.
Okay, and give thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
good night.
I carry you, Jaja, deep down in my soul. Always hold my hand, Jaja, never let me go. I walk with you, Jaja, deep down in my soul. Always hold my hand, Jaja, never let me go. I still walk with the Savior, each and everywhere that I go. Still not left out the most high.
Yeah, give thanks. Jahlani sitting in for Mutabaruka on the cutting edge. September 3rd, 2004, on the eve of the New Year's period for Ethiopia. We're in the old year period, as they would say. I have with me a colleague, Zanj, who is a talented youth, as I said, has his hands on many different projects and is a great resource. You go prison today, brethren, you were in prison today, so to speak. He's one of them young Rastafari youth who encouraging in the way moving, engaged with his own initiative and also engaged in the socially active way. I know you have a kind of social work thing. Say a little about that before you deal with what you deal with.
Yeah, good night, or yeah, man, a night. Bless. So I work with a NGO. I don't know if I can call them names. Say.
Yeah, man, I don't think there's a problem. It's not really advertisement. You're just saying who you work with.
Yeah, I work with an NGO called Stand Up for Jamaica, where them do a whole heap of rehabilitation work in the prisons through the island. I work primarily with the educational component of the rehabilitation, prepare bridgings for CSEC examinations.
Okay. Any particular subjects or across the board?
English.
Okay. That's what you're saying. And how long are you doing that now?
I do that for a year and some months now.
Okay. Since you graduated from UA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. So we just complete the first batch, like the first set of bridgings just
finished. And how were their performance?
I think it's exemplary still.
Okay. How many students you were preparing?
For English language, so it was 18 students. 10 pass. One get distinction.
That's a 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
For mathematics, 15 students, 13 pass.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
So maths performance was improved generally across the board.
Yeah, man.
So that was almost 90. My maths isn't that great, but that's almost that sounds like almost 90%. Well, little less than 90%.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something around that area there, but yeah, man, you have to respect the inmates them for put out the effort.
Can you say where it is that you're actually doing this work?
Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility.
And what kind of age group these people?
All kind of ages.
Those doing the subjects?
Yeah, man. Man who are 50 and them thing there.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, man, going through the same way, my youth. I like to see that happening, especially given the fact that, for those who have been given something, you have the benefit of English language and degrees, it's good to know that you can deploy yourself like that.
Respect.
Mutabaruka has started a tradition of African names for African children, and I hear Elise Kelly reading a request from listeners that them want names. I don't know if Muta is saying use two and therefore suggesting birth control, but I don't hear him giving out the names them as much as him used to. Well, I'm not suggesting population explosion, but in interest of that reparations and helping our community to have the options that they don't have, I think Zanj have some names he might go share with listeners who might be interested in receiving names that they can give their children that are not necessarily Christian names, Christian name like James, Thomas, Esther, and those names. Everyone, as a part of the polite violence thing, they assume that we all have Christian names. So if you're Rasta or Muslim, you still have a Christian name. We're going to give you some African names that don't have any religious bias. Yeah, man, go on through.
Alright. So the first one is Tendai, and that is from the Shana peoples, Shana, and it means be thankful.
You going to spell that, right? Let people know if they're interested.
Right. Yeah, man.
And gender, whether it's boy or girl.
Yeah, man. So, Tendai is a female name. It's spelled Tendai. You know, Tendai. And then you have Thema, which is a female name, West African origin. What's it, Akan or Akan? Akan peoples, yeah. That name they spell Thema, and that is Thema. Then you have now this Tau. That is a male name, South African origin. The Swana peoples means lion. You have the Tau spell Tau. Yeah. Then you have Temitope, which is a female name, West African origin, Yoruba origin specifically, means enough to give thanks.
How it's spelled?
It's spelled Temitope. Alright, so then you have now, get a name here, Olujimi. That is Yoruba in origin, and it means God brings happiness. That's spelled Olujimi.
Olujimi?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Olujimi. Then you have no Sana, which is East African Swahili in origin, female. It's a female name. It means art. That spell Sanaa. Sana. You have get another Shana name, Rotendo. Rotendo is a male name, you know, and it means faith. It's spelled Rutendo. Here's another one. Rufaro. Rufaro is a female name and is from the Shana peoples. You know, means happiness. And it is spelled Rufaro.
Most of the names are quite phonetic. The way them sound is really how them end up spelling. Even as hard as people might think they are unfamiliar as they are sounding. the sound that you're hearing is really what is to be spelled.
Yes. And it's otherwise stated. Alright. And I get two more. One female. This is Ntombi. And this name is South African, specifically Zulu in origin, and it means lady, and it is spelled Ntombi.
Ntombi.
Yeah, Ntombi.
There's no it's just the letter N and then Ntombi.
Yeah, Ntombi. And so the last one, Obi, is West African in origin and is Igbo. You know, for all the man who watch football probably know John Obi Mikel.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Obi. You know, it's spelled O-B-I, and that name means heart.
Heart.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, man, so.
And people say Obi have something to do with Obia in terms of the connection to the, I guess it's Igbo language or Igbo people, that Obia, and I've heard that connection. Let me shut up because I don't know much about Obia.
Yeah, that's it. If you say Obia was a boiling pot.
Alright. Obia have deep West African connections, and if my recollection is right, there is a Obi reference within it as well. Alright, so there you have it. We have a few African names for African children, male and female. We're going to take a break and then return. Cutting Edge.
Reggae in the morning. Our Father was in Zion. Bless your lionesses and your lions. Hear my meditation. Now ask you to deliver you them from temptation. Take the youth them out of them situation. This is my ghetto prayer. Still anyway, to the Father me I pray every night and every day for me no rise decay. You know the dirty stay. Me never get the chance to have a job, and every month me collect me pay. Do ya no make me stray? You I hear me voice clear. Me no want no reverb, no delay. I'm praying for a better way. Man say them rather like a man make out a clear, so the system stay. Make that look easy than to live a day.
Some receive what we no get. We forgive but don't forget. Still go vote but then regret when our leaders seem like the devil's advocate or the devil's syndicate. All they feel us with promises are deceivers.
Jah will never let us down.
The first the man will wear the triple crown.
Jah will never let us down.
And you will never live to see me drown.
Jah will never let us down.
You better listen when the trumpet sound.
Jah will never let us down. Obvious.
Father, why them give the children bread to the dog and let the baby starve? Them feel the pressure, then them feel the mob. Kill and collect reward, collect award, they show no regard. Them two double standard, just like we start. Tunes like green is hard, make living so hard. Sometimes me feel so retarded, so show me Lord. If me feel left me hard, go abroad, check me record. I'm always living a card, I load the system of fraud. Get your youth, me say big up. I may tell you to live up. I may tell you not give up in situations. Me I tell you say no fret. Jah will make you conquer that. I tell you he will hear your supplication.
From the injuries that he received, the face, head, neck injuries caused him to lose consciousness within seconds of the injuries. Causing severe brain damage, so that he would have been unconscious when many of these injuries occurred. I think from the autopsy findings, the damage to the brain was such that he did not have a chance of survival. And the hemorrhage into the brainstem. Two things happened. One is the swelling, and two, there was a hemorrhage at the area where the spinal cord joins the brain. You see, right in the same area. It is bad. It's unconscionably small. It does not permit 5 adult people to reside in this cramped, tight cell with five concrete beds. No bedding, just hard concrete. And it would not be permitted in the United States, 5 in a tiny cell like that. It's guaranteed to create problems.
Yes, you're listening to The Cutting Edge. Just there, we were hearing a clip from the forensic report. We were hearing Dr. Baden speaking to his assessment of the condition of the body and what was responsible for bringing it in that condition. I'm a little speechified, less out of what I was hearing. You know, Brother Miguel, you're there?
Yes, ma'am. Greetings and blessings.
Blessed, my brother. You're busy these days, not necessarily in the way I'm sure you'd want to spend your time, but important defense of the people's rights. You want to tell us a little about this case, this crisis in our justice system, and what you have discerned. Say a little about today's proceedings, Brother Miguel.
Well, today's proceedings was basically a press conference at the Frankfurt International Airport. And we kept it there because Dr. Baden had to leave the day. He came with Livingston and flew back to the United States. Just want to say that we were advised by several persons, several local pathologists, and even local doctors that I have worked with in observing questionable police killings in the past. And I've asked those doctors to represent the families at autopsies. And even some of those doctors advised me that they think that because of the gravity and serious nature of the Mario Dean killing, that it's best if I seek to get an independent pathologist from overseas. And that was why we made every effort to get someone of the caliber of Dr. Michael Baden, who is vast experience. And what really impressed me with him was when he did the autopsy in the Medgar Evers case. The Medgar Evers case, you remember, Medgar Evers, one of our foremost civil rights freedom fighters in the United States. And he was killed many years ago, over 30 years ago. And his killers got away. Well, after 30 years, his body was exhumed. And Dr. Baden did the autopsy again. This time it was much better done. And that paved the way for his killers to be convicted at this second trial after 30 years. So that impressed me a lot. And certainly his recent autopsy on Michael Brown over in Ferguson in Missouri and so on, that brought him back to the fore. And so we wanted somebody like that who could was the experience and who could, you know, naturally he can't even be able to tell us exactly who did what. But what the autopsy has done, it has certainly corroborated some of the statements that we have seen, and it has also disproved some of the statements of persons that sought to exonerate themselves from this brutal killing.
What are some of the things that have been thrown out based on the autopsy?
What are some of the what?
What are some of those things which have been thrown? I mean, falling off the bed was clearly not one of
yes, clearly that was, you know, so concocted that, you know,
the clip we were hearing was saying that it seems as though he was being beaten even after being unconscious.
Oh yes, because what the autopsy shows is that some of those injuries that he received, he would have lost consciousness very, very quickly. And consequently, beating that he got after that, it showed that he was unconscious, more than likely lying on the floor, and persons still continued to apply blows to him. All the blows were basically to his head and one to his neck. So it was in that upper region of his body that most of the blows were concentrated on, and so on.
Someone was trying to kill him with beating.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Brother Miguel, tell me in terms
there were no defensive wounds.
Okay, I see what you're saying. He made no attempt to defend himself.
Well, he probably was not in a position to do so.
Okay.
You know, but there was no, you know, normally blows like that, you'd put up your hand to block them or something. But no, there was no injuries on his hands, chest, shoulder, and so on to show that.
Brother Miguel, a case like this, and you know, the fact that this man was in state custody, this man was arrested for a spliff, you know, it's relatively minor offense. what is the likely outcome that, I'm not asking, what is going to happen with the case, but where can it go as far as restorative justice is concerned?
Well, first of all, we're doing all of this, and then and continue to assist wherever possible in terms of providing statements to Indicom. Indicom is leading the investigation, and they, wherever we can be investors and family, statements or so on that can help the process, then we have been doing that. We think we'd really like to see justice done. We do not think the persons that have been charged so far are the persons that are primarily, they might have something to do with it, but certainly they are not primarily responsible for the death of Mario Dean, and that we think that other persons that certainly caused his death, set up his death, and assisted in his death, that those persons should also be charged and brought to justice.
Yeah, well, I wait to see where this actually...
Of course, there are civil action that is going to be taken on behalf of the family. They are entitled to take civil action against the government. Because whichever way
you're saying they can sue the government for loss?
They can sue the government for wrongful, for death.
Yeah.
For the death of Mario Dean, and many consequences thereafter. So there will be civil action, no doubt.
What kind of timelines in terms of the priorities for such a case can we expect to see any kind?
Well, there was a big wait for the autopsy. Now that the way, then the reports will come in. The report from Dr. Ben and also the report from Dr. Saranji. Those reports, those post-mortem reports now will come in, and based upon those reports, that will help to decide how the case goes forward, especially from a Indicom point of view and from the Director of Public Prosecution point of view.
Brother Miguel, from the other angle now about the sacrament herb, ganja,
yes,
as basically the motive behind all of this. What can we expect immediately? I know, and there have been some minor immediate talks, but what should we be doing as a community, Rastafari community, where this is a repetitive pattern? And this is not the first time that we are seeing things like this happen.
I think the Mario Dean's death should be a watershed, and I think our community should come out strongly and agitate, demonstrate, protest that a minimum of 2 ounces of ganja should be legalized. We have been playing around this issue from the Barry Chevron's report at the time to roughly 2001. It called for decriminalization. We have long passed that now. In June earlier this year, the Minister of Justice spoke about decriminalization again. The government has been procrastinating, wavering, doing everything. They keep trying to please this IMF deal. They keep trying to please foreign people and keep hurting their local people. And I think we should come out strongly now. This since Mario's death, they are now talking about for a split for that a small amount of ganja. It will become a non-arrestable offense, and you'll get something like a ticket or a summons once you can prove your identification. Once you have identification and so on, if you can't, you'll be taken to the police station, and if a JP comes and verify your identity, you'll be let go. All of these measures. Mario Dean,
rigmarole.
Of course, and Mario Dean had 3 pieces of identification on him in his wallet. They were in the police custody. 3 pieces. An expired driver's license, a current driver's license, and a national identification. All 3 had his address on it.
But you know, Brother Miguel, what concerns me is that this is a 30-year-old man. You know, so we're not talking about an 18-year-old youth. We're talking about a man who is a big man in terms of his society. And I'm trying to understand, you know, how you harass a big working man who uses this substance as a part of his meditation. I mean, and why I'm raising this, Brother Miguel, is that there are 2 kind of police response to the decriminalization conversation. I remember being stopped by a policeman one day, and he said to me, "You at the university, you know, say, uno up there supposed to lead the charge. We not supposed to lead. We are not supposed to be following anyone. The Jamaican context where ganja is concerned is that we, through UNO, should be leading this." There are the other set of so I'm saying one set is saying this should happen, and then you have what I would think is a larger amount that believe that this is problematic. You know, that decriminalization is a conversation, and I'm going to crack down now even worse. And that is where I think the Mario Dean case, you know, rests. That he is one of those persons who is a victim of a last-minute repression because of where the law is likely to go. In a sense, we really need public education because there is so much outcry about what has not been a decision yet. Brother Miguel, we haven't made any decision about how there is so much outcry about what has not been a decision yet. Brother Miguel, we haven't made any decision about how do you get the herb, that is the 2 ounces that you are allowed.
Absolutely.
We don't talk.
Has to plant it.
Precisely.
Somebody has to distribute it. Somebody has to sell it. Somebody has to bring it to Coronation Market.
Does my personal use include that I have 6 plants in my house if necessary? I mean, which is where the rest of the world has got. Yeah. You know, so there's still a lack of completion to the conversation in general. And the reason why we have that is because we have governments that keep procrastinating and not wanting to face the reality and come clean and tell the country the truth. That's why we have all of these things. So each time they try to patch, we see other holes appearing. And you know, that type of thing. Well, there's so much things involved, you know. But there's also an issue that I think there's ambivalence among those people in well-placed positions who themselves are pro-ganja, and they're really sitting quietly and silently. Many of them are themselves users, but they can't say that because people might think that there's something, you know, potentially schizophrenic about them. I'm saying that our cause is undermined by those who are not coming straight with the rest of the society, you know. Just since the whole conversation has started, I've been in dialogue with a number of people, and bit by bit you're hearing people admitting that, you know, my grandmother or my mother needed to get some when the Alzheimer's started or when the arthritis. You're hearing a range of instances where ganja is prescribed in polite society that normally
a lot of underground usage.
Precisely. And so I'm saying that in a sense, the pressure, part of the pressure is for more ones who hold this as a useful herb to be honest with the society, you know, and stop being hypocritical. And I'm talking about well-positioned and influential individuals all over, including in the government, you know.
Yes.
So
I agree with you. But even as they come on board, there is still enough. There is still enough feelings, agitation. It has been expressed over and over and over. I remember speaking to Elaine Thomas Gifford, and hello?
You're with us, Brother Miguel.
Right. And when they had the Constitutional Reform Committee going around the island to get people's views on how the Constitution ought to be amended, and Elaine Gifford and I think one or two others on the committee said everywhere they went, when the time came for the people to speak, they brought up the issue of ganja. And most people wanted ganja to be in the Constitution. They wanted it to be in the Constitution in a liberated sense, that people would be able to use it. So, there's so much data that show this. And as a result of that, because today at the press conference, I showed items that were in his bag that he was on the way to work with. He had his working clothes. He had his drill.
But Brother Miguel, we know that one of the things that people do on them way to work is bill a spliff to set them head straight. It is so normal.
And some people on the construction side, it's a part of your lunchtime relaxation. Yeah. You eat your lunch, and then you smoke your ziggy, and then you get back to work. No, this is 7 o'clock in the morning. The man is on his way to work. You search him. You see his bag. He even had his little igloo with his ice in it. He had, of course, he had his Rizzler and so on. He had his cord and his working tools, his working clothes, all of that in his bag. And that couldn't make the officer, even if you're going to arrest him and carry him.
Start to think about him, school youth, them, perhaps,
or
something.
Start to send him on his way. This really thing. And then now, in trying to exonerate themselves, the police, they have now opened another can of worms. And that worm is that you had mentally ill persons in the cell at the station mixing with sane people.
And mixing with an offense that we're now saying is merely a ticketable thing. Him shouldn't even be in a cell. For something like this.
Yes. And to be placed in a cell with persons that are obviously certified insane and so on, was further tragedy. So as they try to explain out themselves, it gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And of course, Dr. Baden brought that out. He says when he looked at the cell, the cells are a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have such a small cell with 5 persons staying in a one cell. And
Five man.
People, yes, same people mixing with people who are obviously not well.
Yeah.
So all of that shows up the system. And he made a very good point today. He said if you do not have the conditions to put people in, do not arrest them.
Yeah. That's the point. A man who is arrested for a spliff should be, if you want to handcuff him on a chair in the room, in the guard room. But there's no need. Yeah.
But not even just for spliff. You can't, because the family had a meeting with Mr. Bunting. I was present. And Bunting went through to point out to us that some of these lockups were built during the time of slavery. Some of them were built during the time of colonialism. And long and short, he's saying that the government doesn't have the resources to correct them at this time.
Hold for me, Brother Miguel. Midnight, time signal. We're coming back to you. Yeah, that was the national anthem and more than just the midnight time signal. Brother Miguel, you're still there?
Yes, man, still here.
Yeah, man. You were saying?
That,
we're talking about the size of the space.
Cells,
sure. And the
obviously very, very bad. But the point I'm making is that if Mr. Bunting and the government knows that these cells were built during slavery and that they are not up to standard, you should not put any human being in them. Not just for a spliff, even for a gun. He's a human being, and he's charged until proven otherwise. So even for a gun, you should not put a human being in these conditions, knowing that they were built for slaves, knowing how they treat us as slaves, and consequently, that is no excuse to say that they were built in colonialism and they are horrible. No, you should never put any human being in those conditions. We have sisters that used to be sleeping on the floor over at Central Village. Women.
This is in the lockup. This is,
at the Central Village Police Station, lock up on the floor, the raw floor. If they get a piece of cardboard in heaven, you should never do that, man. This is something almost becoming normal in our society. That's barbarism.
Yeah. Well, the prison system don't seem as though it has moved from slavery. That's really the conversation that we're not coming out with. You know, and that is, it links to a deeper institutional connection in the way we look at order and disorder and population control. Brother Miguel, I don't know if you have any closing words on this case, any advice to young people. I don't know what you wish to leave us with in relation.
I think we should continue. Right across the island, persons have expressed how sad they are about the whole thing. And I think we should continue our protests, our agitation, and our demonstration to ensure that there is no more Mario Dean. That no more person should die, whether young or old, in police custody, whether at the hands of other inmates or at the hands of the police. There's too much. There's so much of this happening in Jamaica. And when I mentioned this to the minister, he tells me that there are 14,000 policemen. He cannot give a guarantee. We have to hold him. You must give a guarantee. You must do what it takes to make sure those 14,000 policemen understand that this must never happen again.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a little shocked that the guarantee can't be had by the fact that there is accountability that needs to respond in these cases, you know. That this, I mean, there's suspension of those in the station itself. Is that what has happened in this regard? That those...
Yes, those that were duty have been suspended, pending the outcome of further investigation. Well,
let's see what happens, and we have to not lose hope, continue to pray that justice is not only seen to be done, but is actually done.
And I would just want to say that the help that we're getting, that people see in terms of lawyers and other persons from abroad who are willing to help. For example, in the Trevor Martin case, where the lawyers that were involved in that case are now willing to help us in the Mario Dean case. It is the support that the Jamaican community in the United States, especially in Florida, that support that the Jamaican community gave to the Trevor Martin case. We were very vocal, we were very strong, and it is that support now that caused us to be benefiting from that, because those lawyers appreciated it so much. So when some of these same persons contacted those lawyers and said, look, we have a Mario Dean in Jamaica, they were only too happy to say, we want to assist there too.
Well, it seems as though the network across the diaspora is kicking in, and it's good when we can develop that kind of broader connection in serving our genuine needs, you know, look wider than domestic. Sometimes it actually helps when we get that kind of full participation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That the government will understand that this one won't be a 9-day wonder.
Precisely.
It won't be another one that they're hoping that they can fat away and they can pay some little pittance or some little tuppence. And
yeah, man, this should be a landmark.
Yes, it can't be business as usual.
Yeah.
My brother, thanks for having me.
Well,
and,
give thanks for the...
I too will be at the Bingy 11th.
He could not otherwise, Brother Miguel. Could you? Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing
And I will also be on Sunday. I will be at the university for the launching of the film.
All right, my brother.
Looking out for that. I have been a part of that film.
Okay, I hear you.
Yes.
We're looking forward to the continued works and give thanks for staying with us and keeping the fire burning even at this hour, Brother Miguel.
Give thanks, my brother. Listen, I continue to listen to
You're cutting out.
No, I said I continue to listen to the program. I've been listening to it from the very beginning.
Yeah, man. All right, so hold the faith and give thanks for the connection. Blessed.
You're one of the greatest. Is my feel for cry. The music gave me feel for cry. Me feel for cry. This is my one. I feel it I go so.
Reggae Radio Irie FM.
Is my feel for cry. The music gave me feel for cry. Me feel for cry. This is my one. I feel it I go so. Never surrender, never give up, that time me matter. Want my own, can make me kids them so far. Anyway, the bed fi but a man a go far. Want my own, no feel it a go so. Fi survive me by cash, pat and lotto. Want my own, me want my own. Hey, this music here make me feel for cry. And me help Vegas spend the big song it's time. When time to get me right, so no say that him deny. And then say that him a go resign again. Me under 50 drop him nights at 2.
Yeah. This is not a you I say. Irie FM is roots rap reggae. Hear this. And all them other liquid stations, what me say? A straight reggae. You hear that?
Feel for cry. The music gave me feel for cry.
Reggae Radio Irie FM.
My own, no feel it I go so. Never surrender, never give up, that time me matter. Want my own, can make me kids them so far. Anyway, the bed fi but a man a go far. Want my own, no feel it I go so. Fi survive me by cash, pat and lotto. Want my own, me want my own. Hey, this music here make me feel for cry. And me help Vegas spend the big song it's time. When time to get me right, so no say that him deny. And then say that him a go resign again. Me under 50 drop him nights at home. Action Paul if I know me alone. Take him to the doctor. When sequence take the table foot and give him a fracture jawbone. And me tell killer me say woman a trail me. Girl them never fail me. Until the real poor people governor. Link me for 2 more songs like Sufferer. Movado, you're the real gully god. The world knows say the heart is your bad. Who introduce your flex to grown God. Make you do your first show and make your first studio shot. Sweet give you the keys them to write the first song. Tell me from me make you fight your first song. Do your first update and put money in your hand. And in your interviews them not one mention. Me want my own, no feel it I go so. Never surrender, never give up, that time me matter. Want my own, can make me keep them so far. Anyway, the bed for but a man a go far. Want my own, no feel it I go so. Fi survive me by cash, but I like to. Want my own, you want my own. One big ship artist. No, you not a long time thing. Me the big ship from before Steve would turn the captain. From before Chino a DJ used to do the rap thing. Them hurt me but me love them still because I'm Freddy Austin. You are the problem. Some people not think twice. If something wrong with me, then something wrong with Christ. The amount of miracles he work, them still not treat him nice. Him give the blind man sight and the dead man life. But then a 30 piece of silver where them selling motor. But what? If I know it would be platinum and ice. And them sell Marcus yeah, the 50s and rice. If I know them would have sell him out for cheese and fries. Want my own, no feel it I go so. Never surrender, never give up, that time me matter. Want my own, can make me kids them suffer. Anyway, the best but a man a go far. Want my own, no feel it a go so. Fi survive me by cash, but a lotto. Want my own, me want my own. Hey, me feel for crying. Enough time. This music game make me feel for crying. But still more me head up high. So you know used to produce. And that let me shed some light. No people no know about Bounty Terry fabulous fight. Father Harris praise me, so me get them unite. We now vote the big song me produce a raise and right. Never stop at that, big song go drop. With killer sugar minor. People are laugh, so me produce so much killer. So the man rate me and the man know me illa. Me no soft like killer. Me and singing sweet apart from 19 long before him bust in 91. When me game the big song, we go enter in the competition and he mash it up and Freddie McGregor give the 5 grand. Me want my own, no feel it a go so. Never surrender, never give up, that a me motto. Want my own, can make me kids them suffer. Anyway, the best but a man a go far. Want my own, no feel it a go so. Fi survive me by cash, but a lotto. Want my own, me want my own. Hey, we no kill champion, we build champion. We know wait till man go number one. Fi say that them a number one. Son is the real gun, the real gun.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Other little station there, what me say? A straight reggae. You hear that? Reggae.
Yes, welcome back. This is The Cutting Edge. I'm Bongo Niah, sitting in for Mutabaruka, who is away today. We want to hail up Shanae, who I forgot when I was hailing the RSU. How could I? Such a valuable member of the team. I hope she is still up and listening. All of the ones them out there. Farah is still at it. Yeah man, same way so I go through the night with oil. I want to at this point share some of the works of Planno, Mortimo Planno, who spent from 1998 to his passing, which was March 2006 at the university, more or less, with ones in that community in various different ways supporting his work and community in terms of engaging, operating like family would in that instant. We have a number of different aspects of his work. And as I mentioned earlier at the start of the program, our challenge was broadcast quality for some of what we wanted to share. It seems as though what we're going to be able to share in a convincing way would be excerpts from his book, The Earth's Most Strangest Man, the Rastafarian, is the title of the book. This is a book written late 60s, early 70s, mostly autobiographical, and is described by one of Planno's first students, Carol Yoni, in trying to contextualize the value of The Earth's Most Strangest Man as a book by a man who is Planno, connecting several generations of Rastafari revolutionaries. She says that Malcolm X didn't write his own book in that sense. Planno laboriously sat down and wrote his reflections in the order of His Majesty's, what life has taught me. Planno's work is his personal reflections along with poetic inserts there. That book is fully online and fully available, having been published by Lambros Comitas, one of the early anthropologists who came around Planno circles and has some of the earliest footage of Rastafari on tape at the Institute of Man at Columbia. this man took Planno's manuscript and subsequently published it fully online. All the drawings, illustrations, people can Google it. Earth Most Strangest Man is the title of the book. We're going to play for you a clip from that book, Earth Most Strangest Man, as read by Honorable Prophet Arthur Newland some years ago. I think this is the start of the book that we're about to hear.
Earth Most Strangest Man, the Rastafarian, by Mortimo Planno. Research Institute for the Study of Man, copyright 1996. Tell out King Rasta doctrines around the whole world. Tell out King Rasta doctrines around the whole world. Get your Bible and read it. Read it with understanding. Tell out King Rasta doctrines around the whole world. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 9. Then shall I turn unto thee a people, a pure language, that they all may call upon the name of the Lord, to serve him with one consent. Girmawi Kadamawi Haile Selassie. The earth most strangest man, the Rastafarian. Man's immortality lives in his progeny. Memories, they are like echoes, always come back. So, also with the memories of slavery. Slavery has caused the world to be aware of a cancerous growth in race relationship between black and white people. In every country, both races are domiciled. Only a direct confrontation of both races can prove the theory of those observers who continually forecast the outcome of the hypocritical psychologies of the slave master in disguise of truth. The Rastafarians has a peculiar type of truth which only can be recognized by careful studies of the Rastafarian movement. Such movement has 2 professional papers written by professors of universities. The Rastafarians believe that a university is an institution likened unto a research center. The role of a university, therefore, is to make a new discovery known unto the world through educational interpretation. Here, Columbia University offered through Professor Ambrose Comitas the opportunity of publication of a paper on themselves, which would be published in a book form. One thing worth mention is, this author was one of the brethren who figure in most of the movement representatives' activities. He wrote the former Governor General of the British colony of Jamaica, the then Sir Kenneth Blackburn, in 1959, the 3rd of March of that year, who forwarded his letter to the then Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Dr. Ivan Lloyd, who met a delegation of 12 brethren of the Rastafarian movement on the 10th of March, 1959. This author wrote the principal of the UCWI, Professor Arthur W. Lewis, asking him to survey the Rastafarian movement and report his findings to the proper authority with his own recommendations, which was done in 1960. And a mission was sent to 5 free states of Africa in 1961 on account of Professor Lewis's recommendation. I also went on this mission. The mission on its return was called upon to sign a comprehensive report, and I did not sign which this opportunity will enable I to explain why I did not sign. It will interest many readers to imagine how a Rastafarian think and why do we think that way, and most of all, how he became a Rastafarian himself. Approach. The echoes of the memories of slavery resounded in the minds of the yet unborn of those who passes through the tribulation of slavery. Truth can only be identified by truth. So I approach the haunting memories of slavery. I may caution here that I believe that education should be a right and not a privilege. Yet our education is limited as the colonial system represents. There is a old saying, quote, "They have to fool me to rule me," quote. The British has completely fooled our ancestors to rule them. But we are made products of our own produce by our acceptance of their political system. Here is where I am trying to paint a picture that can be seen by even the colorblind. The British I slave master wrote various conflicting histories on African slavery. Lies, lies, lies. Most of the truth of African slavery has been written in other foreign languages, but not the British. I firmly know that rulers were not made, but were born. In as men-made rulers, days are numbered. But you born to be earth's rightful ruler will have to rule, or else the turn or overturn will never stop until who is right, he will get it. The British tried to hide the identity of I by saying all the slaves in Jamaica came from West Africa, without explaining that the market sold East, West, North and South African slaves, sometimes Asians and even Europeans. These confusing lies create an anxiety in I to learn more about slavery and the British. I learned that King James' version of the Bible was given to I ancestors as valuable treasures of missionaries, which was only a camouflage. The real purpose of the Bible was to Christianize and civilize I ancestor. This system worked for upward of 400 years, which seemed to be I sentence in the spit of hell. I ancestor worship with the Bible. I also worship from the Bible, but do not worship the Bible. The parson stand up on his pulpit and orate out lies like flies buzzing around the ears of his congregation about an unknown God who have no meaning other than a name until he is known. All these and many more will be surprising to the world to know how simple understanding can come to man. The faith of I is unbroken regardless of propaganda. So I will have to present and represent I for the business, the truth. The Bible was given finally to our ancestors, not before it was fully interpreted by person. But faith show I that words used can expound truth. Word is power, and power is God, the first father in any language. I want to give the world what is owed to them through the mercy of I God. The Rastafarian all claim that they are Ethiopian. One writer put it and was so sure of his sentiment that they all want to go back to Ethiopia. By Ethiopia, I mean one continent. By Ethiopia, I mean the country Ethiopia, with its capital, Addis Ababa. By Ethiopia, I mean all for one, one for all. Operating in this manner, there can be no failure. The only true interpretation for Africa, for Africans. I, being in captive, has to admit to names of those who did pass through great tribulations, such as Daniel, John the Baptist, Peter, Paul, David, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Dreamer, Interpreter, and Dreadlock Rasta. All these names are biblical, but their true identity has reproduces its manifestation. So I invite human to a travel through prophecies. Expansion of a kingdom, 1492. Ethiopia, the ancient kingdom of Africa, has made an unnoticed expansion of the Ethiopian kingdom from one end of the earth to the other. Africa, being inhabited by invading European nations, has lost most of her written history to the invaders, who in turn copy and then destroy the original. Many tribes are in Africa that the written history of the European conquest has no record. One of such tribe, a small but powerful one in the central mainland of Niger, is the Ouagaougou, who was the chief of the Kasalas, the Umberman, the Kordofan, and the Sokoto. These tribes stretches from Asmara through the Sudan into the Niger and into Nigeria. Warlike, they capture as many lands across Central Africa. The strongest resistance came from Ethiopia. Not before many Ethiopians was taken away as slaves and placed in the slave market of Benin in Nigeria. From Benin, Europe had a ready-made slave market. The Wali Galas, a cattle farming tribe, lived somewhat nomadic. Ethiopia, being nearest to the Nile, has its dry season in the uplands, early and late in the lower lands nearer to Kenya. When Ethiopia experienced in her dry season in the south, the cattle and the tribe came north in search of grazing lands. The Blue Nile, being west of Main, passed into Asmara. The nomadic Galas usually enter through Asmara to make use of the Nile. The conqueror always lay wait them at these water holes and prey upon the Ethiopian cattle farmers, which were taken to Benin from this point. The Portuguese introduced trade in the southeast, but find that human cargo was more favorable than spices and jewels. Ethiopian slaves were sold to the British and Spaniard in the Eastern Passage by Portuguese. The evidence of the geographical position of England and Portugal in East Africa will justify this truth. Spain were more involved in the Ethiopian slave recapture through Gibraltar Passage, capture from who sailed the Mediterranean seas. The British finally bought all slaves and colonized the entire Western Hemisphere. I being interwoven inside the inner seal of the lines of I first father, Rastafari. I explain in plain truth the two passage where Ethiopian were stolen. Therefore, the sentiment, because Ethiopia maintained 3,000 years of cultural history, Ethiopians was not taken away from Ethiopia. Here it came back in I and I song. Our forefather was taken away. Our forefather was taken away. Our forefather was taken away. Yeah, Rastafari, yes. Yes, oh yes. With 3,000 years of history, Ethiopia must be required to play a role in the resurgence of Africa, which I and I venture to bring in truth to this world. I and I always try to keep the light of Rastafari burning, even before the light was seen visible, moving in Jamaica, until it begin to move around the entire world. I and I appear as the base things of the earth. I and I brethren live in rubbish dump, dunghills, that is ghettos. Cattle farming done by I and I was a creation to new generation. We move and had to move about, so one would ask how I and I would manage not being steady. Hunting was a much appreciable sport for I and I. Hunting is the second nature of a shepherd. I and I hunt for food, as is always man's demand. They hunt for food for the family. I and I as a household and a family, which stay home and raise the family. I and I was created to perform this work for the kingdom of Jesus Christ. Spoke of it to come. It sometime take I and I away from family life. So I and I live as sojourners. I and I feel the spirit in I and I song. Leave our home.
Iron FM really rocking, you know.
Reggae Radio.
I am son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. Our heart shall correspond and beat in one harmony. Sounds from the burning spear.
You're listening to The Cutting Edge. My name is Jahlani Niah, sitting in for Mutabaruka. Before we went to the break, you were hearing the sounds of Brother Arthur Newland reading from Mortimer Planno's Earth's Most Strangest Man, the Rastafarian, an autobiographical text written by Planno in the late 60s, early 70s. And if you were following the reasoning, Planno, through his visits to Ethiopia chooses to write his own account, which is this Earth Most Strangest Man. And in that account, he gives us his gathering of the history of our people, accounting how it is we were captured from the fringes of the Ethiopian highlands because of our carelessness and led away, walked across the continent. He talks about what he subsequently calls education, which is the way we were socialized in the institution. Education as a kind of polite violence, giving us a sense of low value for those things which belong to us originally African, and elevating those things that come to us through the European understanding. He talks about Africa in a way before its colonial history, and how it is that has been interpreted in particular ways. You have to fool me to rule me, is something Planno would always say, and that is a part of the core idea of this polite violence, where all of the institutions, bank, insurance, are like the old pirates themselves. They're no different, You're taxed and charged really crazy rates for giving them your money to make money off of, and it goes on beyond that. Planno, he talks about the journey, from the Nile, and when you remember also that you're talking about another kind of polite violence by way of the way we have to interpret this history, the names of the places, the names of the people, and the very conversation that we need to have in order, the very language of the conversation that we need to have prevents us from really connecting to that which is our genuine self. In fact, one of the university professor, Carolyn Cooper, mentioned that when you really want to speak your gut emotion, you have to switch to your patois. You can't become convincing, whether in anger or in passion, in this language of the head education. So Planno giving us a sense of man's progeny, man's immortality, as he puts it, rests with his progeny, and that, in a sense, Planno engages long time this idea of living forever, and acknowledges the importance of procreation and progeny in this bid to see generations from this time until that time. Yeah, man, so I got Planno Earth Most Strangest Man. We're going to play some more, but before I do that, I want to tell you about an event which occurs every Tuesday night. White Bones and Kingston Roots Ribbit present reggae beats. This occurs at 1 Mannings Hill Road at the restaurant White Bones, which is just across from the Texaco station at Mary Brown's, or what used to be referred to as Mary Brown's Corner. This is a Tuesday night vibe. From 8 p.m. to midnight, you have roots, rocksteady, dub, reggae music, lovers rocks, Isle full environment, in order of that reggae revival, dub scene tradition that we've been noticing. So that's Tuesdays at White Bones, production of White Bones and Kingston Roots Ribbit, reggae beats. Yeah, man, we want to big up the man, them Bubba and Sata, and all of those as parts of the coordinating and conceptualizing of this, which features special guest artists and selectors in bringing quality music to the people and good vibrations in general. We're going to go to another one of our selections at this time, and then when we come forward, we're going to return to a little more of the voice of Arthur Newland reading from The Earth's Most Strangest Man, the thoughts of Mortimo Planno, who we're celebrating his Earth Day would actually be on Saturday. And we actually have something in the pipeline when we come in from the break. If we have someone who has called to tell us the following, we're going to make it difficult because this night school is not an easy walkover. We want to know year Planno was born and the name of his mother. Year he was born, name of his mother. And we put in another one. We're going to ask you if you know where he was born. If you can answer that triune, that Trinity question, right, we have a special prize for you, which includes more of Planno's ideas. Alright, so when we come back from the break, we take responses to that. Year he was born, the name of his mother, and where he was born.
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari, our heart shall correspond and beat in one harmony. Sounds from the burning spear.
Give thanks and praise. We're here with you on the cutting edge, listening to some of the sounds of the great burning spear. Doorkeeper, that one is called. Give thanks to the man Ilawe for resurrecting that one in high consciousness and the strength he brought a few weeks ago when he shared this microphone, this audience with me. Yeah, we're listening to Planno, his book being read, and one of the recurring things that I think Planno's ideas bring to us is this notion of the polite violence. For me, one of the biggest casing points of that polite violence is in the U.S. visa scamming. And I call it U.S. visa scamming because poor countries and poor people all over the world line up to get into the United States through their embassies all over the world. And these poor countries are charged exorbitant amount of money for visas. In our case, it's $140 or $50 a US visa costs. They tell you to apply as often as you like, but what is the percentage that actually receives that visa, their hope of all kinds of future and whatever? That is, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest scam, because there is no way that the persons who apply in their multitudes expect that all of them are going to get through, but they consistently go there and find the money even in desperate conditions. The biggest part of the scam is that there's no reciprocity. In most countries where visa agreements exist, there are reciprocal arrangements where those nationals coming to your country have to pay visa money. Yeah, we are afraid, just as we are afraid with the ganja, we are afraid to charge Americans visa costs for coming here because we claim that they are the largest tourist bracket. And within that bracket, if we charge them visas, it's going to make it difficult and them don't want to come and horse and cow fat, essentially. While they feel no way in taking hundreds of dollars from our poor citizens who desperately daily apply for these visas that most of them, if not 99% of them, not going to get, but their monies will be taken and they'll be encouraged to return and apply again. We're going to listen to some more of Mortimo Planno's thoughts read by Arthur Newland from The Earth's Most Strangest Man.
Oh, man, family, to travel with the Lord of love. I and I travel, I and I travel, with the Lord of love. I and I trod up with the Lord of love. I trod up with the Lord of love. Trading in our finds. The love of I and I, the love of the home, the love of the family, and the love of I and I cattle. All this love I and I sojourn with. I and I suffer for this love, yet I and I suffrage bring peace to many nations, because I and I blood shed to redeem many knowledge is power created and made, yet knowledge cometh to those who seek after what history has written of Ethiopia, is a stepping stone to the knowledge of the wealth of Ethiopia. Ethiopia, a land of beauty and splendor, possesses all the good wealth of creation, all the fruits and food that service I and I, all the gems and precious stones I and I finds always be offered to Europeans when I and I came across them as trade. Such introduction of trading remain until today, with the exposure of the Europeans as blatant thieves who not only steal I and I land, but also steal I and I man. I and I teach them honest trade, yet I and I were chained when I and I asked for exchange for I and I good things of I and I forefathers' land. I find it very hard to trade with those who I teaches trading. The call for the collapsibility of the entire economic system of all slave traders, nation and government. One noticeable characteristic of the British I slave master not long ago, the history written of her as Great Britain now is mere England and soon retain the name of Anglo-Saxon. The economy of Britain has been falling ever so fast until I ask that it fall a little faster. This devaluation of the pound get a blow is causing starvation. The pound get a blow. These few lines represent the fines and refines in trading with another nation, for such trade entailed the slave trade. Words reached the throne room that I were caught and captured and sold to foreigners. The warning came that I should desist from going across the borders into another territory, for the pale face are making a good market in I as a product. I being warriors and statesmen know that the duty of a shepherd is to defend. The king defense of his empire remain inside the empire. The time must come, as it was in the beginning, when the entire continent come under the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, the resurrection of this disobedience was likened unto the warning unto the world government conscience in 1936. If you bow to force, God and history will record your judgment. These warnings went unheeded. What happened? Question. God and history recorded the judgment of Europe. I was not spared for such disobedience. Yet Rastafari send I down to redeem mankind by making I watchman upon the walls of Zion. I feel it in this song. The good Lord send me down from Zion. The good Lord send me down. God revealed himself unto mankind, yet mankind removed from his thought that God is real. When the warning of God go unheeded, then the visitation of his wrath kindled, likened unto a fire ever burning. So also God sent others to vilify and destroy the wicked who refuse to obey. Slaves from Ethiopia always feel deep inside the spirit of the African movements and move to it in songs, as it is written in the Psalms of David. To every song is a sign, and I always sing the songs of the signs of the time.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Run away, run away. Haile Selassie, I call you. Bright angels are waiting. Bright angels are waiting to carry the tidings home, black man. Nothing more true than the spirit of the Rastafarians movement to move away from Jamaica or any other land to Ethiopia. For I sing, Ethiopia is a better land. Ethiopia is a better land. Ethiopia is a better land. Oh yes, Rastafari, oh yes. Ethiopia Emperor, being the head of the Ethiopian government, always maintained thinking for the Ethiopian Empire. So he sent out border guard to drive away foreign traders who indulges in stealing human cargo. The dry season in Ethiopia usually causes a grave hardship. Cattle suffer. So I had to go look for cattle, need being the good shepherd. I had to sojourn. I interpret it likened unto those who lot was cast, and through their heart volunteer to be cast into Babylon to fulfill this part of the Rastafarian Christian discovery. We are volunteer Ethiopians agitating for our rights, and we'll never stop fight. No, we never stop fight till we break down Babylon wall. I had to cross the border, and the red devils caught I. Bound I hands and feet. Our necks were put into fasteners, and our ankles fitters. And here is where I find self. Here we are in these lands. No one thinks about how we stand. The hands are upon us all day, so we cry and we sigh, for they know not their God, so they always be crying in vain. These are words of conscientiousness that lead I. Know that only Rastafari know I these truths make it impossible for anyone to dispute I in truth. The long walk.
Yeah, we're hearing the audio version of Earth's Most Strangest Man, Rastafarian Mortimer Planno's text being read and performed, I should add, by Arthur Newland. Quite an extraordinary reading and performance of what is not a easy text to read, given how Planno's writing and thought operate, you know. But yeah, we're hearing from Planno's book, and it goes on for a number of installations. We're not going to be able to share all of it with you this evening, but perhaps sometime in the future. As I said, the book itself is online, just by putting in Planno's name or the title of the book, Mortimo Planno. You can read for yourself that which was being read. We're still hoping to get someone calling with the answer to the three-part question, so to speak, or to the three questions, which provides you with a prize, those who have the correct answer, that is. Yeah, we're up past 5 minutes after the hour of 1 o'clock, and as we would like to do when we're here, we would like to also have conversation about the other important thing on the table. We spoke a little about reparations earlier in several ways, and we touched the issue of ganja earlier with Brother Miguel on the phone. We have a short clip to share with you. We think the public education is an important part of this present that we find ourselves in. You know, the backlash from the global direction is leaving many of the dark and ignorant people talking all kinds of garbage in public places. So we're going to have to help by providing the research that we intuitively understood now that the world is rushing to catch up with that. So we're lining up some ganja talk information for you. We want to say a little bit more about the ganja talk idea. They're growers, traders, consumers in Kingston and St. Andrew and beyond who we have been in dialogue with. And these dialogues is leading to some level of organization or attempts at organization in the way of what we're describing as DAPA. So look out for that in the future. But DAPA is really about decriminalization, advocacy and public awareness as it relates to ganja. And the idea is that as we move forward in this conversation, those of us who value the intervention that herb, ganja, cannabis, marijuana, whatever you wish to describe it, but the value, balancing and creatively and, you know, all the other ways that we now understand, that value is what we're seeking to properly, appropriately represent so that people can have informed information. So when we come up next, we are going to be sharing with you a little more information on the ganja. We're still hoping to get feed-forward responses from the questions asked about Planno. The three parts were: where was he born? What year was he born? And the final the final question was the name of his mother. Anyone who is able to supply all three parts of that question, we have a prize for them. I can say a little more about the prize as we move along. All right, so engineer Zanjan is Brian. Yeah, man. What we have lined up now? We're coming up with the ganja talk. Yeah. Give you a touch of that way, Congo, coconut chalice. while you locate our clip.
You hear that? Reggae.
Kaboom! Hurry! Them little fool there try copy them fish. Stop it!
Yes, good morning, Jamaica. So, we're going to give you some information for ganja, and we're going to begin right now with this bridging a speak on the origins of ganja.
Despite what you might have heard about marijuana being some alien demon plant that showed up on to tempt us to sin, marijuana is actually a natural plant that evolved as part of the Earth's ecosystem and biosphere, just like every other plant and organism, including human beings, that and who are all actually genetically linked as part of the web of life. And so marijuana, or actually the scientific name is cannabis, can be traced on that web of life to about 37 million years ago. 38 million, depending on which book you look at. So about that time, which is actually relatively recent as far as activity on Earth goes. The dinosaurs lived like 300, 400 million years ago, and humans evolved maybe a million or 2 million years, or hominids. So this is kind of the frame that we're talking about. So plants were already around, but this plant came 37 million years ago, probably India, China, Afghanistan, somewhere in that range, maybe two origins in the Himalayas area of Asia. And essentially, once human beings started using it, which goes way back into prehistory, it spread with humans. Now every country in the world, marijuana is found. It's probably the world's most widely domesticated plant. So it goes back pretty far through human history and prehistory. And now there's more genetic diversity in marijuana than in dogs, the whole canine family. And that's because of all the different genetic recombination that can go on and strain crossing. It's actually a two-sex plant, male and female, and naturally it pollinates itself with the wind. The male pollen blows into the female flowers that catch that pollen, and when the females secrete this resin, that's the thing that we use and we call marijuana, but the whole plant has a whole bunch of other uses. If you're looking at the stalk for fiber and cellulose, or the seed for food, and so on. So and so that's really the natural origin of marijuana. Again, the most important thing to remember about any psychological effects of a drug or substance that you consume that has psychologically activating properties is the huge role that psychological makeup or set and the context that it's used in play in how it affects your own psychological makeup, your cognitive function, your mood. So that's a very big caveat, and for everybody who has different expectations, different makeups, things will affect them differently. Interestingly, it should be noted that in the 1930s, when the American Medical Association was testifying to Congress about what the uses of marijuana are or cannabis, as they like to call it, for medical purposes, the doctor testified to Congress that cannabis was very useful for helping to bring memories back in psychotherapy, or what's called repressed or lost memories. And the doctor who testified to Congress said that this would be an invaluable tool that was being used in psychotherapy to bring back forgotten memories. So that's something that you might be surprised to hear about, when people always think that marijuana use might make you forgetful or forget things, when the doctors of that day were discussing the utility in helping you remember things. And that just goes to show the complexity of it. The main thing that you can see in studies, that when people are using marijuana or cannabis in controlled settings, people might describe an interruption of short-term memory with the use of acute use of cannabis. These effects, again, are can be tolerated, meaning that repeated uses may not occur, or again, in some cases, it might heighten recall. And essentially, a famous doctor named Andrew Weil wrote a book in the 70s called The Natural Mind, and he talked about this phenomenon called stoned thinking. It's also been referred to as mosaic thinking, an idea that, okay, it's not like you're forgetting things, but you're thinking about things in a different context. You're making associations that you may not have made in a linear fashion before. Now, this is a kind of effect of marijuana and cognitive patterns that is really dependent, again, on the amount that's being used and the context it's being used in, but these things have been described in the literature, and people describe creativity, creative thought patterns, or new ideas, inspiration, as an effect on thought. Again, there's also concerns that people might develop the same thoughts that they were thinking before they used the drug might be heightened. So if those are thoughts about or worries or thoughts about persecution, those thoughts might be heightened under the effect of a substance that just kind of magnifies what's already there. So it's a very broad area, the different effects of marijuana on thought and memory, but overall you can get a sense that short-term memory interruption, but possibly long-term memory recall, mosaic thinking from linear thinking, and then in some cases complete tolerance to any effects at all that can't be really measured on cognitive testing.
Up in the earth.
It must have been blazing. Out of the covenant tax gold and green. Chill out my weed is all I really need. Yam and banana, big Jill and red peas. Excess amount of weed. No worry about it, I'm a coconut chalice. This must have a blazing, must have a blazing. Love speak a message, no envy, no malice or malice. Have a blazing, coconut chalice for the world. It's our planet. Just say the weed, it up a flourish. It's a mysterious world just established. I know the wicked can't stop it, so praise His Majesty. First thing in the morning, far as my eyes can see, Mother Earth is a flower's garden, and just all of the mountains for dwelling places. Herb is a healing about the nations. So write a letter to the 7 churches. Revelation, Genesis. Herbs man are filling. No worry about it. I'm a coconut chalice. This must have a blazing. Must have a blazing. Love is a message. No envy. And a malice or malice. Have a blazing. Coconut chalice. Cause I'm healing. It is the scripture. We are the sheep. Sheep of the pasture.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I have to blaze it. Dawe, Congo, blocking that sound about the coconut chalice. We just covered 2 documentaries, or two short clips. One on the origin, and the other one was on the thought and memory issues. Disputing what is thought to be the convention, as we put it. We have a call, we're told. Good evening, good morning. You're on the cutting edge. Morning. Yes, good morning, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, good morning, sure. I just wanted to try to answer the Mortimo Planno question.
Yeah, man, please.
Okay, so I looked it up, and I think the answers are that he was born in Cuba in 1929, and his mother was named May Park.
He was born
in Cuba in 1929.
And his mother's name is?
May Park.
You mean that information is out there? I thought it was a secret. I'm glad to hear that, you. All right.
The mother's name was really hard to find. It was missing even from the Gleaner article on his death, but I found it.
All right. So it's a good thing I made it a 3-part hard question then, because you Google and you would have got part of it.
Yeah. There was a lot of...
So tell us the mother's name again.
May Park.
May Park. And you got the dad's name, or you didn't? Your research wasn't that thorough. If you have to be a good cutting-edge student, you have to go a step further, you know.
No, okay, oh gosh.
You didn't go to the 4th step. You didn't go. Okay, well, find that out. That's your homework, but you've done well, and you can give us your details off here for the collection of your prize, which actually is a book called Let Us Start with Africa, the foundation of Rastafari, which actually has writings by Planno, which were put out. So it's actually a good link to him and his ideas. And yeah, man, I'm glad to hear that you at least were able to put the pieces together. Now, do you know why I asked the question, even though it was easy enough to find? If you can figure out. Alright, so let me tell you why. Planno was one of those individuals, like many who were born in Cuba, who had their date of birth falsified. So he had one document that said he was born 1932, and his actual date of birth was 1929. So officially he was 3 years younger than his unofficial age. You get me?
Right, and the importance of that is what?
Importance of that is just that at those times, this is what I understand, people who were migrating by boat from Cuba, many of them with young children, children under the age of 2 or 3, were allowed free passage. So if they could represent their children as being younger than their ages, then they were able to more cheaply afford their return passage. I mean, it's not a big point, but I wondered if persons would have had his 1932 or his 1929 as the correct date. So it's my bit of trivia.
I think it's a big point, because otherwise you might have to split up your family. So it's big.
There you go. All right. Your name?
Donna K.
Donna K. All right, Donna K. So you're a regular Cutting Edge listener, or this is?
All Irie all the time.
You're a radio station stuck on Irie like mine, eh?
Right.
Yeah, man, same way. Good to talk to you, Donna K. And Shauna K. I thought you said Donna K. Shauna K. I get you, Shauna K. Shauna K, don't hang up. Allow the operator to collect your number so that we can get your prize to you. As I said, it's a book. Let Us Start with Africa, and I think one well worth reading. All right. So hold on, and the operator will take your details. All right. So we've got one person who did a little night research and was able to easily tackle that bit of trivia, the Planno thing. Yeah, his mother's name I never expected would have been available, but the idea was that his mother would have migrated to Cuba in that time when West Indians were going, the 20s, to work on sugar estates there. And she would have been one of those who migrated, would have met Planno's father in Cuba, because well, that was the next question I should have probably asked. Planno's father was not Jamaican, was Cuban, and she met him there, and they subsequently returned to Jamaica together. No more callers? Okay, not yet. The numbers to call in order to join us this evening are 974-5051 or 974-5079 or 974-5043 or 618-0352. That's 974-5051, 974-5079, 974-5043 or 618-0352. Yes, my brother Zanj, we're on our last lap, so to speak, on the cutting edge. Yeah. So tell us a little more about some of the other things you're dealing with. I know that you're a media person as well.
Yeah, play music too. Yeah, do little DJ and them thing there. Do a little tutoring. more oriented around the educational stuff and the media stuff integrated.
So you're not a full-time employed person any one place then?
No. I try to keep it as flexible as possible.
That's what you say. Creatively moving around with the scene.
Very, very creatively. We're grateful, so we have the opportunity, can do that still. Enough people have the opportunity there.
What did you study at the university?
Well, I read for my degree in literatures in English and history,
Literature?
Literatures in English.
In English?
Yes. And,
so you're a book person, for truth? Reading and them things.
Research and read.
And what do you hope to do with that? That's the question people generally ask people who do them kind of degrees, why you go in the literature as a degree,
Originally, the plan was to pursue journalism and media. When I applied for Karamak, we never successful. So when we get into the literatures in English, I make a switch. I realized how helpful it could be more towards even media. So the hope is still for the media, but is also for just try to expand my horizons as wide as possible, because that's just a facet in a personality.
The idea of getting a solid any kind of degree that gives you specialist training must give you some strength, because it gives you some sharpened skills in whatever is research, which is what the historians are directed by. It seems as though we have a caller. We have a caller line? Oh, we lost that caller. Yeah, if you do a degree like history, it orients you towards more research-oriented things. Those people, can get a range of work from straight teaching to archival work, museum work, the kind of people who are in registries and that kind of vocation, Literature now has a range across communication, so people who need that kind of competence on board are glad when they see I have a good, strong degree in any one subject sometimes. And you showing us that you can juggle it even in the prison too, and get some good responses. We're still trying to connect with Mama Blossom, if anyone knows her or if she is listening or anyone knows how to reach her by telephone. We'd appreciate of that. As the same applies for Ras-E-Truth. We have a caller online. Caller, are you online? Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Good morning.
Pleasant morning, brother.
Yeah, man. Pleasant morning, my brother.
More speak to General for line. Are you?
Seeing. We're on air.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Pleasant morning.
Seeing. Go ahead.
Pleasant morning. Yeah. All right. Hear this now.
Yeah.
I hear the I was speaking about brother Martin Planno.
Seeing. Yeah.
And the man is a great man. I mean, get the energy now. I just learned this man I come to the Cuban line.
Seeing.
And I come to the Cuban line, brother, car through I generation transforming in the West Maruna Indian.
Seeing.
The indigenous people in the land. So my mother now says she could have stayed by the hospital man to go be answering Cuban Iceland line.
Serious thing. You don't have your radio turned up. If you do, turn it down so that it don't feed forward. Yeah, man, good. Yeah, go on.
You have to know, brother. We get the knowledge of brother Martin Planno, we really never have yet. I'm here to talk about a book. That book, why not? It out long time.
Which one? The book we were reading from, Planno book?
Yeah.
It was written a while back, but was only put online maybe about 10, 15 years ago. A little under 15 years ago. So the only way you can really read it is by searching for it online and then downloading it. But it's not a book that is available for sale, no.
Okay, you what happened now? You know, say, me buy some jam. said, and care funde go left with the man love the funde.
Planno this, you talk?
Matter Planno, yeah, man, for you, man, go sit up with the man, and you him show me.
See.
Him take a bit of paper, and him make a circle. And him say the circle represent Africa, Shashamaniland. And him write the world, the church, him write dance hall, and him write, I think it's party. And him draw a line right to the circle, and him say, listen this, everyone heading right here. Some coming from the church, some come from the world, some coming through the Bible, some come from the dance, but everyone will be ending up in Shashamani. Yeah, you ever tell you brother? That's the man they show me there. Until today, what I do, I come and set a project of making herbal medicine, because that I want to take as Shashamani. That is my project. Right? But the thing is that now, brother, it's well appreciated on the local scene, because the people down here get a lot of response from it. Even there, you know, listen, the disease mashing down West Africa. The BBC, someone was saying to me that I should continue building up my people down here in Jamaica, because I said Jamaica and a good lineup, Bandeville, Kingston, Woodshire, Montego Bay, so I'm purge them out and bless them with these great herbs. Some of them not even know it was in Jamaica.
What kind of herbs are you working with?
We work with the gato cola, the medina, the damiana, the slipper, and the dandelion, the merengue, the neem, the noni, the guinea, and the Irish mash, the honey, the molasses, the orange, grapefruit, pineapple, June plum, berry, cherry, ginger, cane juice, lime juice, aloe vera.
See, so you're making preparations which are general, or you're making for specific things that people?
I make it in general. It's a liquid meal, and I don't boil them. I soak all of them together over a period of time. And it's a liquid meal. I'm gonna ask when people partake of it, man, them get great response. Great and excellent response. This is a project I want to take to Shashamani, brother.
Same.
But I can't feel the birds in them within the fullness of Shashamani. I don't feel the comfort that they have very much comfort travel enough so that they could go down and build our economy in Shashamani, because what I learned that His Majesty wants us to come with power, faith, and to take over Africa, because Africa lost their substance. You know, and I have the traditional substance. I want to take this project in Africa. I even try to get through with the Empress Menin Foundation, because I know that they have a clinic down the Empress Menin clinic and so forth. You know, but I'm not taking the foot here.
There's actually someone I ran into recently who has a good link with the Sick Be Nourished, which is a NGO that work in Ethiopia out of England. You know.
Yes, man.
And you could probably try connecting with him too.
Yeah, man. Yes, brother.
But yeah, you're saying basically that you have as your thing for Africa, your herbal medicines taken forward.
Project.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
you know, my brother, that is in my mind one of our strengths as a community. That
yes, brother.
As a community, we really need to take that naturopathic and holistic approach as a serious part of our wealth. You know, many of us have the knowledge from having studied the herbs, taking time to study. Some of them get it mystically, but no less respected based on how they have acquired it. The fact is that within the community, the knowledge exists.
Yes, brother. And I want to document these knowledge so the generation can continue to feed from these blessings. That is because much essential in love for me, brother. Right, it's much essential love for me. So I want these things to be documented properly, but through the Jamaican government, because you know, the Jamaica is an organization set on this island after they come and killing of the indigenous people. So they automatically can't stick to the indigenous people medicine because they are not of this nature, and to change them from being so brutal, so they continue to take the medicine from all over Europe to continue the brutality. You know? And if they partake of what is from the land, the indigenous people, because we're peaceful and loving people, the Indians and the Maroons and the Creek and the dangerous armors, they're still doing us these things right now in a different form.
Well, they give us the diet to cause us all of our dis-ease and distress. So the diet is really where it starts, you know, I mean, as you said, the food as a medicine and the medicine as a food mentality is nowhere.
Yeah, we tell them, you know.
Yeah.
Garvey emphasized upon this so much. 1962 when they gained independence, it was that they legalize the immorality and they make them it legal for them to continue brutality. But like even today, we see that. You know, when the benefit, what we benefit from independence? Nothing. One brutality and hardship. You know, see, you know, when nation feel to a point, a woman them have to, do the thing. You see, because the nation get weak. Because we know that we were going. Because we know where we're coming from.
Well, let's also say that the women are bringing their strength outside of talking about just being weak. Because, in a sense, a part of our challenge has been that we have not drawn support from the females as much as we can to bring complement to our visions and action.
They're teaching, brother.
Yeah, man, and
colonial teaching.
Seeing separate us and cause we fight against one another.
One of the main part of it, brother, is my just say that they're invaders and conquerors. I was at Pinestone Hospital and get my arm. It's a story to say this. And when I was there, man was just crying, or come to crying out to Jesus helped my mercy upon him. And my hand had injured and was selling. And I'm there laughing because I laugh when I'm feeling ill. And I'm saying, Mama, my daddy, my grandma, Mama, tell somebody could help me now. I'm really conscious of it, the man about it. You know, 10 minutes come out and I can look on the man and say, the man, the president, all the people say, that's a wicked man. Him calling upon Jesus for him never says and never do anything for him yet. And that's a righteous man. Him calling upon his mother and his father and his grandmother who we know always love him and care for him. I know say somebody come and help me. In the night, Almighty God knows where that's say, these things me hold on firmer. God I said my mother and my father is the God I know because I get children. And I see how harmless and hopeless they are.
Yeah,
right? When they are small. So that's what they teach me pull it out of ourselves, brother. And that was left here by Christopher Columbus. And I want these people to remember. Jamaica is an organization set by the colonial masters to continue their wrongdoings. And the people who, remember Christopher Columbus was a criminal and a convict. Sick from many diseases and so forth. And the people who serve that organization have to be convict and have to suffering from those years to take the European job. I tell them, so the only criminals I know is those that they use the Bible to convict them of things they do against their fellow men. Sorry. But the only convict is the version in the prison. No go up no brother for nothing. Just eat up with them. And the man them also knowledge up. The man them use the man them book the Bible. The man them study the Bible to the book and said, man ask me, what are we doing here? I use practice and show me. If we get independent, though the colonial barriers in prison should be broken down.
Well,
how we start off anew.
The independence is incomplete, some would say. You know, we've been saying that it's incomplete from emancipation. And then independence come and just discomplete it fully. So,
Jamaica land, we love Jamaica land.
You know it goes.
That's all the land they love. So it's
out of many one people.
Well, listen now, brother. Another thing I want to touch, you see, to gain true independence, we get political independence in a sense. So we could make decisions to make ourselves comfortable and survive. So what is happening now is the decision that the people make, preventing us from survive. Listen, the understanding that I have, the only solution to a movement is Garvey movement to take center stage. PPP, because it's the only political movement in Jamaica that represent the people. The others represent business entities. They are business people working for the same colonial force. They have nothing near redemption within them, but I and I would have to rally around them to create a redemption with them. So I ask now for you see this local government election, I would like to get some candidates for the PPP. We are not participating to win. We are separating the sheep from the goats. Those that are their mind in Africa, those that still have love and not looking out for themselves. So they could have somewhere to congregate and someone to look after their affair. Right? Because I tell the people out there will acknowledge who they are and wanted to try the uprightness and counter the political embarrassing thing. And we get a privilege as Rastas, as Garvey people, as a people to use people's political part that represent them properly. We need candidates, brother, president. We must do that. We must get up our first stomach. Garvey left this for you, brother. The PMP and the JLP right now, you see, they just have brethren, agriculture minister, step out of fish. I say when them need our help to relieve them of some of these political burden, they can come to a little note where have some peace on the island. So we want to work out our political affairs properly. We need candidates. I went to a consultation in Spanish Town. All the candidates in St. Catherine was there. And when I go up and make my little presentation, Virgin, I said the moderator woman says, listen up on the ear, Gazi, all of you young people entering politics are wasting time. Because I was saying to them, everyone that gets invitation to Parliament or the Parish Council has a job, because it has people that they're reading and looking after. So they're supposed to be employed. Right? So they can have enough privilege and access to look after the people. But what they're doing in general is just who get majority of the vote, just do what they feel they can take care of who they think support them. And that's not a good system.
Well,
democracy.
Part of the challenge has been that the process which led to political independence was not consultative. It never thought that the people needed to really be involved in thinking about how it is that they want to live a future that wasn't under Britain. Instead, there was a group of people who thought they knew what the people needed, and to that extent, you know, Rastafari is on one side of the fence saying Africa, and then you have another set of people who saying Britain. I remember that is the time that we're talking about. And then the leaders themselves saying, well, naturally, no one wants to think about going to backward Africa. Let us try and separate ourselves from that and move forward. So the Africa conversation wasn't factored at independence. And since independence, which is what the Planno conversation is about, there has been no systematic attempt at looking at Africa at all. You know,
I think, true. So Parliament have nothing. Nothing. In the prison, you see, in the prison, our St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center, I think they have a prison program over there that's saying it's an Africa program, and I was selected from the jailhouse, or I do my thing, to the prison to show them that I am the most prepared person. I am the person that they call the most right honorable and adored prophet, priest, and king, Dr. Ras Lion Emperor Upton Eric Blake. So they said I am the fittest person, the most ready person for Africa, but I don't know on what grounds, because they said the prison system, that's where His Majesty charged you, the underworld. You know, so I think they want to take me through the underworld, which is good. I was adoring it because I wanted to go and manifest this medical, the medicinal project in Africa. Because the Ebola, you're going to make a hit. I think it's those oil company from down in, I think it is Ghana and Nigeria that is leaving out because of losses. Want West Africa.
So
I think that way.
Your thinking is that this is a kind of sabotage that...
Yeah, better to move them, because I don't know, say, the world not treat who call themselves black as we be. Because you have black skin and you have black people. Different, right? Because the black skin, 90% of them have a real principle. And you know the black is a principle of life. So regardless of how you look, it is your principle that makes you a black person. Because the quality, the highest qualities in life makes you a black person. It's not the skin color, and that's the problem we have. When Gab is a black, we think it is the black skin, and those are the ones that tearing down the movement and brought it to this. So black skin people have a great burden carrying. You see, because they project themselves like they are the one God is speaking of, and they are the one that belongs to Africa. No, the people have the first love that Prince Emmanuel taught us. The first love, Mama and Daddy.
Yeah, man.
To get children. You see, and those that lost that love for their fellow men would call themselves black. I want to tell you this. I was speaking one day in spirit, in tongues with some spirit. I was speaking with the spirit because I'm in touch with nature. I was speaking with some junkers, and they concentrating on the note black and penciling out. And that junker says to me, "Don't call yourself black. Yes, we speak of your flesh."
All right. My brother, we're going to move though, you know. But give thanks for the link.
I want to love to the whole world. I love to the whole world. Africa, the continent, Europe, Asia. Everyone that's listening to the station, don't remember. Just remember this. Don't change your dial.
Yeah, man.
Else you call yourself a denial.
Yeah, Jankro said don't call him black. Don't call yourself black. Right? His name is a black thing, really. Alright, my brother. So give thanks. Yeah, different call of a different nature that we're kind of in the last quarter of Cutting Edge. Been a fairly tall evening, you know, into morning now, with various ones inputting to bring us to this point. Earth Day of Mortimer Planno, as I said, coming up on Saturday, the 6th of September. He would be 77, 80, is all gonna 29 to 2006 is when it, he died when he was 76, and that's 8 years ago, so I'm with 84 now, I think. Yeah, the maths is off. There's a caller. We can squeeze another. Good night. Good morning.
Morning, brother. Blessed.
Blessed, my brother.
Yeah, I'm sitting from Jahlani, showing late.
Yeah, you're on air, you know. You're on air. We're talking. This is Jahlani.
Yeah, Jahlani.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Give thanks.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, me love. That's I top Planno. Now the morning, for real.
Saying, him earth strong, come forward, you know, and decided, say, it's a while now we need to really return to his works and share them in a wider context, you know. We're trying to deal with that.
Most natural. And it's a worldwide thing. They are project right now.
Seeing. Who is this, though? What do I name?
Blessed Iris, definitely.
Okay, I hear you. Blessed.
Never put side up there, I don't want to be the way. Don't want to be the car. I give a light, the eyes, and give thanks to them, I bring back the biggie, I don't want Scott Pass.
Oh, you mean? That we're wait pan, because when it is at Scott's Pass, I can take in almost all the lights them and still go work the next morning, you know. I mean, worse with the highway, you know. I will. So we're really glad to say it is at least in closer proximity. Because Montego Bay, you know, you have to decide, so you go and go camp out for at least a couple of days. But Scott's Pass, yeah man, you can take in every light.
Yeah, man, even if I have a chat about earthquake about Malvern, I'll go a far chat that says.
Seeing. Yeah, man, Scott's Pass kind of the ideal thing for this bingy, so we're glad that going for.
Most of the bingy, so we don't know where the family really are going, but just there still a give thanks and.
Oh, you mean, make sure you're there to give your strength, though, you know, when the issue arises as to where we are dealing with, because that's really it, you know, that we all become more serious with this ground, which we have had for such a while, you know, and I think that this is the perfect opportunity for we come forward with real seriousness.
Definite. Yeah, man. Give thanks, Jahlani.
Yeah, man. Bless my brother.
Love when Muta shout out in left. Love when the general shout out in left. Some definite tough lieutenant like them to do the program. You see me I say?
Yeah, man. Give thanks for the words still, you know.
Yeah, man. More power than strength, brother.
Seeing, either. Yeah, so, we're here, as we're saying, you know, winding down on Muta's watch. Muta, the one who has taught us greatly, you know. I mean, I love that Ma'at invocation that Muta introduced us to. And yeah, you have to really lift your hat to the work that Muta has put in over the years. I remember when I just started teaching at university, writing lectures through the night. It was then a Tuesday night that Muta would come on. I mean, I tell you, say, it was a joy to be able to sit down and work for a while and know, say, you have company. And it's not just Muta, because there's a whole world in tune at that hour. So, yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going in the world now, but I'm sure the world is better with him there, you know, him doing a great works wherever I'm go. So we just hope him have, you know, protection and strength on him way and come forward safely in one piece. We want to hail up Sister Kabu Ma'at. So she told me it's pronounced, I was calling her Kabu, and she's saying no, it's Kabu. So Sister Kabu, we want to hail you up and bless you and tell you how much we love you and love to hear you when you manage to have time to give us that word sound. So we've shared with you the idea of the launch coming up on Sunday. We want once put that in them calendar at the university, 3 to 5 at the launch coming up on Sunday. We want once put that in them calendar at the university, 3 to 5 at the N1 Lecture Theatre. It's The Price of Memory. Karen Marks Mafundikwa, the filmmaker, and it engages the very important conversation of reparations, which many of us have a vested interest in. If not, the whole world is waiting to see what Africans make of that as a world claim. We also spoke to Sister Mitzie Williams as one of the administrators of the Nyabingi order, sharing with us information about the upcoming September 11 Nyabingi Isis. She says it will start on the evening of September 10, usually getting in any time between, sunset onwards would be good, but before midnight for the lighting of the fire. And it goes for 5 lights after that. So the September 11 Isis returns to Scott's Pass, inviting all ones to come in for what is hoped to be a fresh start, new year, beginning, all of the good energy that our family is so anxious to embrace. Everyone is waiting on this now, so we're looking forward to that being in another 8 days' time. We also spoke to Brother Miguel, who joined us to update us on the issues related to Maria Dean and the reports of the pathologist, Dr. Biden, American Observer, trying to ensure that there is no sweeping under the carpet of forensic evidence or analyses, that it is as transparent as possible, and that justice is served in a meaningful way. We, Buddy, were looking at Planno, his thought, and we have to give thanks for the contribution of Brother Arthur Newland, whose reading we heard of The Earthmost Strangest Man, done some years ago, but skillfully and professionally done, as only Arthur Newland can, and we give thanks for that. We also were able to, through my able assistant Zanj, bring a number of other things. He was the one responsible for the Ganja documentaries and stuff. We thank him for that. But we want to thank the brethren at the university who tried to avail us some of the other audio, Kwasi from the archives there as well. So both Zanz and Kwaji for kind of helping with the production work on this. Also Kian, who I have and my newest friend now as producer of this program. Thanks for the work done in bringing this together and making it happen. Yeah, we have some sounds that we want to block musically before we go, so we're not going to say much more. I don't know if Zanj have any hears or ones or ideas that most say.
Just want to bless up all of the inmates them at our street, or try and make a difference with them life.
See?
Yeah, man, that's what I want to say. Bless up all of them and go and do nothing. thing. You know, life not done behind bars.
Yeah, man. Serious thing. Give thanks. And in fact, that gives us a space and time to really live that word that the institution often use, correction. You know, if we can get some of that correction and straighten out things, that would be excellent. You know, you said that we had some good passes, maths and English. Continue the good works, my brothers.
Man, give thanks.
All right. So we are going to go out with a couple of the sounds that we've been blocking for the evening. We thank you, internet and radio across the lands, those of you who have spent the time with us here. We know is a hard school, you know. You don't want to miss nothing of the cutting edge, so you can't leave quarter way through. You have to stay right throughout. And those of you who made it through, well, giving yourself a pat on the back. The caller, Shawnee, who won the book, we thank her for her participation. We're still trying to reach Mama Blossom and Ras E-Truth. We want to thank our able and very calm technical man, Brian, you know, who has, for the last couple of times we've been here, been very patient with the novices as we try and learn the ropes and make his life miserable in some ways, but he is making it look like we know what we're doing, so we give thanks for that. Yeah, I think I've said it. We thank you once more for this opportunity to share some sounds and the Pan-African #1 night school program set by Mutabaruka, Jahlani Niah, Bongo Niah, real Bongo Niah, saying good night and good morning at the same time. Yeah, man, blessed love, Rastafari.
And them's the one liquor
vampire. You never miss the water till them well run dry. Gorilla warfare man in a jungle attire. You hear say Robin in John and slip on wire. Man and defend the green herbs, the manga far. Some of them work out with only them are the sweetest layer. And anything them tell you what they first want to buy. African queen mama skin.